Live, JE Live, and I got my guest back on, Gary Sheffield Jr. We're going to be talking about the MLB Trade Deadline, which, man, we're hoping we get some fireworks, but I'd be lying if I if I wasn't saying that. Like, look, this is not the biggest of years past. There's not a ton of guys out there that are like going to be just, eye-popping, jaw-dropping names. There's one name that I don't think is getting traded now that we were hoping would, in Juan Soto. But there are a bunch of other names that, hey, the right, the right team that maybe is a bat away, can help them win a World Series, And so I think when you look at guys like, Lane Thomas, who I've mentioned to you, we'll see if they get moved. He's on the Nationals, and I don't know why the Nationals would keep him, except for the fact that he has 2 years of control. But I don't know, with the Mets getting rid of Verlander today and getting rid of Max Scherzer, I think more is on the way.
Yeah, at least you can say you know where the Mets are trying to go. Yeah. That's the one thing about the Mets, is that everyone has an understanding now that they're not trying to actually win in the short term. And me and Jake have no idea. Like, we have no information to tell you guys as to what is actually going down with the Yankees. Like, we'll essentially just have like Joel Sherman and like a couple other writers just telling us like, hey, the Yankees are going to try to buy and sell. I'm like, well, what's that mean? That sounds like you're afraid to lose. Like, you don't want to sell because you have a bottom line to sell us, chicken buckets and ticket sales and all that stuff. But you're not making actual moves to be proactive, to be good in 2024. You're essentially just trying to be decent, and have
gross.
This baseline. It's worse. And it's something that Yankees fans should be accustomed to, because we've actually been doing business this way for a while now. So it's very disappointing. And unfortunately, we're going to find out here in the next hour. How much time's left on the deadline? Like an hour and 45?
Yeah. Well, you can't do math. That's right. So hour and 52.
Hour and 52. There you go. So an hour and 52, and we're going to find out what happens. Like, Harrison Bader was scratched today. We don't know if he's hurt for the 64th time or if he's going to be traded. We don't know.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with the organization. If you want to sell, be my guest. That's okay. Well, let me know that so that I have an expectation for what's going to happen in the future. But if you're going to tell me that, like, I've been sitting here talking about Shohei Ohtani and Juan Soto and all these guys, and then you're going to turn around and trade like Gleyber Torres to Miami, I don't know what you're doing. Like, again, if you're going to trade Gleyber, trade relievers, maybe a Harrison Bader, some walk guys, fine. But there needs to be some level of communication where people here in the chat who care about the Yankees have an understanding of why they're buying tickets and why they're buying chicken buckets. We need to know the why. And right now we have no clue what it is.
No, I agree with you. I think that's really all fans want. I saw an interesting tweet today, about the Yankees, and it was like, there's this common misconception that Yankees fans wouldn't want to rebuild. And now I don't think Gary and I are sitting here like, pushing for a rebuild, but at least we'd have an understanding. And it's kind of like, we'd be able to at least enjoy baseball again, knowing like, okay, a rebuild entails bringing up Everson Pereira, entails bringing up guys like Wells, and guys like that, even the Martian, Jason Dominguez, depending on how much of a rebuild we're talking. And so that's at least exciting baseball to watch. Gary, I saw the lineup today. I understand Jake Bauers has a home run the last 2 games. He's probably the only offense outside of Aaron Judge right now. In the short term, we're talking the last 2 games. But you have Billy McKinney, you have Jake Bauers, you got Greg Allen. Come on. Like, you can't. It's getting to the point where it's like people are just buying, and I saw this tweet as well, people are just buying tickets at Yankee Stadium as like it's just kind of a celebration of the community. Like, you're just going there and you're socializing at this point because there's just not a lot of great baseball. I was there and I actually got a decent game out of it, but it was the first game out of the 7 I've gone to, Gary, at the stadium that the Yankees haven't hit a home run.
Yeah, and people have said that the Yankees are overzealous about trying to hit home runs. Like maybe they built a roster that's trying to hit too many home runs. And to be honest with you, I don't think that's it. I've been
No.
clamoring for years that the Yankees roster construction in terms of how they're trying to score runs was a problem. However, I don't think that right now. I think it's not good. They're not good players that are trying to implement that system. If you're going to try to hit home runs, fine. But they need to be players with the skill set that can get that done. Joey Gallo was a player that they acquired last year. They thought he was going to hit home runs. He didn't. Joey Gallo's strikeouts actually weren't the problem in New York. His problem is that he actually was not even hitting home runs, which was the only reason they brought him there, to play solid defense and to hit homers. He did none of them. So to me, it seems like a talent issue. And Yankees fans are looking at players like Greg Allen, McKinney, Bowers, a lot of guys. Rizzo's hitting like a $175 the last 2 months. So ever since that Tatis play, Rizzo's been one of the worst hitters in Major League Baseball. He's not hitting the ball hard, and he's pressing. He's making defensive mistakes. I mean, he's not good right now. So, I mean, when you have Yes Network coming on the air and saying Rizzo cannot be hitting third, but Aaron Boone has had him hitting behind Aaron Judge ever since he came back, well, we have a problem. And it seems like the people who are even responsible for covering this baseball team professionally, they're actually paid by the team to cover the team. Okay.
Yeah.
They don't even know why we're playing people where we're actually playing them. And to make matters worse, our general manager hasn't done anything to give Aaron Boone, who I'm actually defending here, any realistic options outside of the farm system to plug and play. That's a problem. The roster's not good.
No, it's absolutely not. And, it's just, we could talk about this all we want, how it's a disservice to Judge and Cole, but we sound like a broken record because we've been talking about this for a while. But, I mean, in reality, forget about the guys that are getting paid millions upon millions of dollars. It is a disservice to the fan base. I mean, you can't just go from, we won 2009 and we've been good. We've been in ALCSs. Okay. Well, you haven't won a title, and you can't, like we talked about the last time, I don't give a shit about 27 world championships. Notice there's no banner up there because I don't care. I do not care,
we don't care
about 27 world championships. I care more, obviously about like the Super Bowls. That's a little different. When you got 27 and most of them were won before I was born, I'm not going to, brag about that. Okay, that wasn't
What year
even,
does it say on that? What years does it say on that championship banner?
The Rams one?
Yes.
That says 2021.
2021. Do you think if the Yankees won a World Series in 2021, we'd be sitting up here talking about the deadline and miscues?
No. I think I'd have a Yankees banner in the back.
We would have a Yankees banner in the back. And that's the reason why, like, Brian Cashman will come out and say, well, we were cheated out of a championship in 2017. We felt like we should have won. I'm like, oh, really? Because didn't you fire your manager after that?
Yeah, it's good Lord. And also, let's be honest here. I had the realization yesterday, and you've already known this, but maybe you're not thinking about it in terms of like this. You're watching the Kansas City Royals, and you're like, this is awful. This is awful baseball. This is not a good team. But to be fair, they got rid of Whit Merrifield. Alex Gordon got older and then retired. Like, they been there, done that. They won a World Series more recently than the Yankees did. Let that sink in. As bad as they are, even though they won like 30-something games this year, which is awful. I'm not excusing that. But even though as bad as they are, their fan base got a chance to have a World Series title more recently than the Yankees. The Yankees.
That's accurate.
And that's like, I don't know how people aren't talking about that more. Like, how is that acceptable? To me, that is a direct reflection on the ownership. And like Candelario, the rumor is that Candelario was to be had by the Yankees. I haven't been praising Candelario or anything. I think he's a good player that's getting hot right before the trade deadline. That'll, get you a couple prospects and whatnot. It's better to sell a guy like that than to sign him long term.
They're selling high on him for sure.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The Yankees could have had him for late teens prospects. So that's not a big ding on the farm system. The big issue, what I was reading, is that Hal didn't want to spend the money. That's like $2 million, Gary. I mean, we have some serious issues if Hal is, basically pissy fitting over $2 million. I mean, I don't like Cashman. I've made that very clear. And Cashman is asleep behind the wheel. He is. Like, let's just call it like it is. But, I mean, at some point or another, this has to fall on Hal. Like, Hal, first off, he's nothing like his father, which I was listening to Buster Olney, and I agreed with him to an extent. It's almost a good thing he's nothing like his father in a sense. He's more liked around the organization, more people, he's a different guy. He's not overreactionary. The problem is he's not reactionary at all. I mean, the one thing, his crowning moment, Gary, was when he put his foot down because Cashman, if you guys didn't know this, Cashman didn't want to sign Judge. He didn't want to pay Judge. He wasn't going to. They were not going to sign Aaron Judge until Hal stepped in and was like, no. Well, here's the money. Just get it done. So, Gary, that's his crowning moment as being an owner. I mean, that's not good.
I don't even see that as a positive, by the way. Like when we're talking about, and his point was that Hal Steinbrenner is more liked, more, I guess, more respected around the locker rooms, whatever he wants to say there. I don't even think that that's even a tip in the cap. Who gives a rat's ass what people in the organization think? No one cares. Really think about that. Imagine if I got to be the owner of the New York Yankees, right? Like, I'm the one in charge of running the Yankees, and everyone, like, let's just say you found out Rizzo can't stand me. Aaron Boone can't stand me. He hates me, right? The fans are hearing this. No one can stand Gary Sheffield Jr., right? Can't stand him. And we are winning World Series championships. Would you give a rat's ass?
No.
You like me as a fan. As a fan, you like me. I'm the one paying all these players. I'm the one bringing in like an Ohtani. I'm the one trying to bring in. And maybe I can't get Ohtani. Maybe it's not in my capability. Maybe me and Jake can't bring in an Ohtani or a Juan Soto, players that are just flat out superstars. Maybe we can't get that done. But the pursuit of always trying to do the best thing possible in the now and trying to win right this second, whether or not the players or the coaches respect me, love me, think I'm doing things the right way, who gives a rat's ass? He could fire the next 10 guys back to back to back seasons. And if in the 11th season he won a title, I'd say, well, finally.
Yeah.
So someone is actually doing something that's trying to get a positive result. Because right now, Hal's trying to be liked and respected. He's run a business. This is not about that. This is about winning. And the business will take care of itself. That's what George did. That's his model, is that I'm going to worry about winning and not people. I'm going to be a good guy. George Steinbrenner was a great person, but he would step on anyone's toes to win. And Hal is the type of guy who's going to tiptoe around like a princess and have everyone say nice things about his temperament, his discipline, and all these different things. He's not a reactionary type personality. Well, don't you think that with this fan base, the way we are as fans, that you got to have someone with a pulse up there making decisions?
Oh,
and right now, we've just got a guy who can watch the Houston Astros sweep the New York Yankees. It was the only team we had to beat, the Houston Astros. We get swept, and he goes and signs Carlos Rodon, and then people at Yes are going, well, there's definitely going to be a bigger move. I know they're working on something bigger. They're working on something bigger. Nothing happened. And then no one said anything. No one complained. It's a joke. So, no, I think there's no positives to Hal Steinbrenner's demeanor. I think it's all negative. I'm going to be quite honest with you. And it has to change. Otherwise, nothing with this organization in terms of success in October will ever change. Like, we're looking at like a 25 to 30 year window of no winning.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing. Like, the Yankees are 4 games above 500, so they're not in the same boat as other teams. But I see far too often, like, oh, they're still in it and all that. And, like, I've talked to you. I think they could still be in it if they made some moves. I also think this could be a position where you try out the young guns, and like last year when Oswaldo Cabrera and Peraza kind of helped, energize you towards the end to kind of get you past the finish line. Sometimes you need that. And
Yes.
I just feel as though, with the Yankees, I mean, you're spending $280 million, right? Their payroll is second behind only the Mets. That's why 54, 55 wins isn't enough, in my opinion. That's how I would look at it, okay? Like, it's different with the Royals. The Royals are bottom of the league in spending. Like,
Right.
You know what I mean? So, okay, they don't have as much talent as the Yankees or the Dodgers or the Mets. They don't spend as much money. Now there's really no excuse, though. I mean, the Yankees have all that money that they've spent, and it's like you're already in it. You know what I mean? So it's one of the things where that's how I look at it. Is just like it's not acceptable to be 4 games above 500 at this point in the season. That's why like people are like, "Oh, the Yankees are a dumpster fire." Yes, people are saying that right now, despite the fact they're 4 games above 500, because that is still, even though George left this earth a while ago, George still is embodied within this team's culture. And they have made such a presence in this league, regardless of winning a World Series. They've made such a presence in this league because of George Steinbrenner and the way he would operate that even if you're not a Yankee fan, you're looking at like this Yankees team, like this Yankees team is terrible. When in reality, there are a lot of teams that would take 54 and 51 right now or whatever they are. And that is telling. But it goes to show you that like you can't look at this team like you look at your football team that's, they're 8-6 and you're like, wow, this has been a good year. It's different.
Right.
It's just different. Like to spend that much money and only be that much over 500 this late in the season is just not acceptable. And that's why you and I have pushed back. I mean, I've been saying, I've been advocating for it. I hope Hal Steinbrenner sends, he sells the team to the Cronkies. Stan Kroenke's won 4 or 5 championships in the last like 3 years. Give him to the Cronkies.
Right. I'm telling you, I just think that, yeah, spending $280 million and people will look at it and say, well, okay, you're spending 280. Well, he spent like that's what he was supposed to do. Right. But it's like how you spend your money. And if somebody's not in position to spend your money correctly, I guess it doesn't really matter how much you spend, because I can explain it this way. Everyone said that Giancarlo Stanton's contract was partially to do, like, that's the reason why the Yankees didn't go out and get Manny Machado. It's the reason why the Yankees didn't go out and go get Bryce Harper. And that's wrong. That's incorrect. And I'll explain why. They told us in the short term, we're not going to get Bryce Harper because it's not a fit. Bryce Harper told us he shaved before the offseason started, okay? Showing us he has no problem shaving for the Yankees. It's the reason it happened. I mean, anyone with a brain would tell you that's why it happened. The dude came out. He's wearing a number that he can wear with the Yankees. 3 + 4 is 7. He's Mickey Mantle, okay? The guy, I mean, his dad was literally reaching out to me about, yeah, we don't know why the Yankees aren't calling, okay? He's been wanting to be a Yankee his whole life, okay? He wasn't going to force it, but they have to come to him, make it work.
Yeah.
They said, we have 5 outfielders. We don't see a fit. And he said, I'll even play first base. And they said no.
Yep.
Okay? Now, mind you, here's where it gets funny. The New York Yankees down the road eventually, Bryce Harper's contract, how much was it for a year? Because everyone looks at that big number, $330 million. How much was it a year? It was $25 million per season. It's exactly the amount of money we're paying Josh Donaldson.
Yeah. It's
2 seasons in a row. Are you kidding me?
So bad.
So $280 million, you're getting to that number by swapping out Josh Donaldson with Bryce Harper. So, and I know that's like a very oversimplified way of explaining it, but that's the point I'm making. He's willing to pay $25 million. He's actually building rosters. It's not the money. He's choosing which players he wants on the team, and they're the wrong choices. They're incorrect.
So Brian Hoke from 2018, I got that tweet up from December. Brian Cashman indicated that Bryce Harper isn't a fit for the Yankees, said the team already has 6 outfielders, that playing Harper at first base isn't realistic. What's funny is I remember tweeting out right around this time, And we had not connected yet, or if we had, it was just like, we shared a couple tweets. But I had tweeted out like, yeah, Bryce Harper at first base makes a lot of sense. And it was the whole, yeah, he doesn't fit there. Yeah, so here's the thing, okay? At the time, the Yankees' 6 outfielders were Aaron Judge, okay, obviously, Aaron Judge, Brett Gardner, who's now out of the league, retired,
right?
Giancarlo Stanton, Clint Frazier, Aaron Hicks, and Mike Tauchman. And that stopped you from going out and getting a guy who's a 2-time MVP. And guess what? I brought this up yesterday. I think I texted you this. Bryce Harper plays first base for the Phillies now.
Sure does.
So he he acted like he couldn't do it. I'll say this right now, okay? I love Aaron Judge in the outfield, but I'm going to pivot to this real quick because I think the Yankees need to protect Aaron Judge. He got hurt in the outfield. I think the writing is on the wall. I think he needs to move to first base. So when people are constantly, what to do about Rizzo? I don't care. I'm moving on from Rizzo at the end of the season. I'm trading him because, I do not care. I'll put Judge at first. He's 6'7", 280 pounds. I mean, he's insane, but I don't want that guy to have any more of his career cut down because he's playing the outfield. And that's a thing that I've heard is like, we can't go out and get a right fielder because we got Aaron Judge. Excuse me? like that's...
Well, no, the thing is his defense, Aaron Judge's defense is compelling. Like, we want him in right field, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And Jake wants him in right field, but this is the point, and your point is correct. Aaron Judge's value to the Yankees is his bat.
100%.
We have to have his bat. If we don't have his bat, there's no reason to build for anything. There's no World Series on the horizon in any year. When you're talking about Spencer Jones, Jason Dominguez, those are complementary guys that you put on top of what Aaron Judge is doing at the plate. That's his bat, and his availability is what's valuable to the Yankees. It's the reason they signed him to a 9-year deal. So if he's here for 9 seasons and he's healthy, even as a DH, that's the Yankees' value for Aaron Judge, is just having him be up at the plate. He's going to hit homers. He's going to be pitched to a certain way. He's going to be on base all the time. When you have a consistent lineup around a guy like Aaron Judge, who's also consistently on the field, that's when you start winning. Like, that's where right this second we'd be at 67, 68 wins, where you're actually piling up wins, is because the actual roster and how you're building it is making sense. So, yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Whether or not Aaron Judge can play first base, I don't know. But at the very least, I would like them to see him try. And so that we can replace Aaron Judge's defense in right field. Maybe you won't find a guy as great defensively, whatever. You can find someone who can field his position, maybe a left-handed bat who can hit. The Yankees have other ways of replacing the other things Aaron Judge does. They cannot replace his bat. So he's got to be available.
Well, let me ask you this. If you're an Angels fan right now and Ohtani is DHing, right? Are you holding that against him? That he's DHing? Oh, he doesn't play the field. Who gives a rip? Who cares? I mean, that's the thing. Fielders matter. Don't get me wrong. But I've been thinking about this more and more, and I'm like, Aaron Judge is not going to be healthy the rest of the year because he was playing right field and dinged up his toe. I mean, that can't be acceptable moving forward. And think about how much time he lost and what that might have done for the Yankees. I mean, if you think about it, Aaron Judge pretty much gives the Yankees a chance to win more than half their games, right? It's astounding.
No
when he's in the lineup, they are one of the best teams in baseball. I mean, just statistically. And the Yankees are 10 games out of first place. If Aaron Judge doesn't get hurt, the Yankees right now, let's just give them 5 wins. They're in the wild card right now.
And they're buyers.
And maybe by them being in the wild card, putting more pressure on the Angels, maybe the Angels are like, we're not going to trade for Giolito. Maybe they don't lose that series to the Angels, and maybe Ohtani's available right now.
Well, actually, the Angels would have no opportunity. They would have no path to the American League wild card if Aaron Judge wasn't healthy. If Aaron Judge wasn't hurt, the Angels would be either A, deciding that we're just not trading Ohtani. They definitely wouldn't be buyers. We would know that for certain.
Yeah.
They would absolutely not have gotten Giolito. They absolutely would have never went and got any other player that they acquired. They never would have signed those guys. They would have stood pat, and it would have guaranteed that either Ohtani is going to the Dodgers as a free agent or to be traded to us.
Yeah.
So
no, absolutely.
It's a problem. So yeah, I mean, whether or not whatever the Yankees need to do to get Aaron Judge to be able to stay on the field, and maybe that is getting him to be the full. What's wrong with him being the full-time DH? David Ortiz.
Yeah.
David Ortiz was the DH. Did anyone have a problem with that? I mean, his bat. You know how important his bat was to beating us. I mean,
all
Aaron
I
Judge
care
is a better
about
hitter.
is Aaron Judge being in a lineup. I mean,
Yeah,
I love watching him in the field, but honestly, since they signed him, I've liked him a lot less in the field because all I'm thinking about is the guy's 31 years old. You're trying to make the most of this contract. There is no point to having him out there. He better never play center field again. Like, honestly.
Well, Jake, I actually have a question for you.
Yeah.
What age do you think that Aaron Judge will be able to play right field at 6'7"? Do you say age 34? It's probably his last year. He can play right field.
I mean, with the toe injury, I wouldn't be surprised if it's I think probably their plan was probably until like 36, and then you have 3 years left of his contract to just as a DH. But I mean, I think 34, maybe even 33. So another 2 years. I mean, look at what they're doing with Stanton.
Can he play? Yeah, I'm not saying can he play right field. I mean, can he be on the field?
Yeah, like a whole season. Yeah.
Yeah, like is he going to be able to at 6'7"? Will he be able to play, say, what we would call acceptable, 145 games? Will he be able to play 145 games as the starting right fielder of the New York Yankees? I just don't know.
Yeah.
At 34, 35 years old, at 6'7", 280 pounds, how's he going to do that? I just don't know. So the Yankees have to get aggressive with they need to be proactive, whether it be selling or buying. If they're going to buy, we need to know that. We need to know what the Yankees are trying to do, because at this point, we can see a certain move like the Yankees could tell us where we're going to trade Gleyber Torres. But then let's just say they don't do anything else. Well, we don't really know what that means for 2024. That doesn't really have any long-term impact. If you're going to trade a Gleyber Torres, well, Bader should be out the door. Rizzo, you should be trying to get him out the door. You should actually be being proactive about the future. And right now, it just seems like, based on the news that we've read, the Yankees are trying to get some value from some players that they don't really need next year, and then get value for next year. That's not the way it works. Like, people don't just give you stuff that will help you next year for something that won't help them this year. That's what they're doing. They're like, Higashioka, or like one of these guys that, or how about Luis Severino? Everyone's like, well, we don't want Luis Severino. He describes himself as the worst pitcher in the league right now. And people are like, let's just go trade him and get something worth a damn next year. I'm like, what organization in Major League Baseball is like, hey, this year our big pickup is Luis Severino. His ERA is 8. You guys are gonna love him.
Yeah, I mean, we made fun.
Let's get serious.
We made fun of Alek Manoah, who was a top 3 Cy Young candidate last year, and he got sent to Florida Complex League. Now he's back in the MLB, and it's like, that guy was a top 3 Cy Young candidate. We made fun of him. Where's the making fun of Severino? It's like, how is Severino not sent down to Florida Complex League? And honestly, isn't that just kind of a sign that Toronto just knows more about ball than the Yankees do? I mean,
seems though.
Alek Manoah's back, and he's not amazing, but he's serviceable. I mean, Severino is not usable. I don't think people are like, oh, he could go to the bullpen. How do you know that? I mean, it's the first time through the order. It's not the third, or you know what I mean? Like, it's not a normal starting issue, Gary. Like, he struggles at the beginning. That's not even bullpen. Because guess what?
Why do people say that?
Like,
why is that said though?
I don't,
about bullpen.
I don't know, because think about
people
this.
just assume it's easier.
Well, yeah, I think that's what it is. But like, the thing that's kind of the misconception is that bullpen is not necessarily easier. It's why we should treat relievers just as much as we treat starters. It's why Mariano Rivera should be considered one, if not the greatest pitcher of all time.
Right.
And Mariano Rivera's issue is that a lot of people don't know this. He was dominant first, through the first and second, time through the order. But the reason he wasn't a starting pitcher was not because of stamina. It was because that third time through the order, he would get eviscerated. So, no. Severino's getting eviscerated the first time he sees these guys. That's not going to change if he's coming out of the bullpen. I do want to kind of pivot a little bit because we had some trades come through. I know Verlander we were talking about. What are your thoughts on that? Because, I think it's a perfect fit for the Astros. And I think at some point or another, Verlander will have to just fall off because he's not going to be in the league forever. Father time always wins. But man, getting Verlander helps them out. They already have plenty of talent. They're a team that's in the wild card race, obviously, with Texas and everything they did. I feel like they kind of had to make a move because Texas got a lot better, even like before the deadline. I don't know if they even do anything today because, I'm impressed with what Texas did. But, Astros are half a game out of first place there. Does this put them over the edge?
Well, this is the thing. I believe that Houston thinks that when they're healthy, which they expect to be healthy, right? Healthy Jordan, Altuve, Bregman, Kyle Tucker, they feel like they have what it takes in that lineup. And they have a compelling argument to match up with what Texas can do. And Texas is one of the best lineups in the league. So obviously that's saying a lot if you feel confidence about your lineup in comparison to that one. Okay. Houston feels that. And they also believe we'd be in first place if Jordan wasn't out all year. But also, they weren't just losing games while Jordan was out. They just weren't the same Astros team. Okay?
Yeah.
So now understanding that is they're going to come into a playoff series, and now they go get a Justin Verlander who's owed $43 million this year. I mean, he's not owed $43 million for the rest of the year, but he is owed $43 million next year. Well, here's the thing. They're going for it now, this year. It's about 2023. It's not about his contract. It's about this year. And this year, Justin Verlander's actually been very good. So if the Houston Astros go win a World Series this year, which they're the odds-on favorite in Vegas right this second to win the AL West, well, they go win the World Series this year, and then next year they don't, let's just say they're a wild card team. Would everyone consider that a successful trade? Yes.
Yeah.
So the Houston Astros see it. It's just money. We'll send it. Send the trade over, and we'll take it. And essentially what that is also is that's a win now move. It's a move that the Yankees haven't made in a while, and I don't expect them to make it now at this point. And it's really not even on my wish list at this point. But what is important is that you can't always win in every contract the entire way through. And we talked about this with Aaron Judge in his 9-year contract. Everyone said, well, I don't want to go 9 years, right? The Yankees shouldn't take a risk of 9 years. They did the same thing with Giancarlo Stanton. And it's actually why I explained to you why Giancarlo Stanton was actually a success for the Yankees. And it's because he was good at the beginning. That's what the Houston Astros are doing right now with Verlander. It needs to work right this second. If it works right now, then great. We'll deal with the consequences of 40-some million next year. But because you're right, Verlander might fall off. He actually might fall off a cliff. Next year, he might show up and pitch like Alek Manoah. Easily could happen. It happens to any pitcher at 40 years old. But Justin Verlander is showing, he's a Hall of Famer for a reason. The dude's going to show up, and there's a possibility that he actually might pitch well next year also. But the important part is what he does right this second. And Houston already believes in what they have. So they've done it the right way up until this point. An organization like them, they can afford to take a risk like this. Teams like us, we can't because we've made mistakes in the past.
Yeah.
So when people wonder why do the Houston Astros and why are the Texas Rangers and all these organizations getting so aggressive, it's because they trust their past. and it's led them to be able to make these decisions now. We've made mistakes, and now we're sitting there, and they feel like it's compounding the problem by getting aggressive right now. And that's the issue. So I really like what Houston did. Love what Texas did. I mean, Texas is getting more arms. I mean, we all thought they were dead in the water without DeGrom, and they proved us wrong. They went out and got aggressive. So love what both teams did. I mean, it's going to be a dogfight in October.
Yeah, and then you have the Phillies who, I mean, let's be honest here, they're not winning that division. They're 11 games behind the Braves, but they go out and they just got Michael Lorenzen, I think, right before our show started. What are your thoughts on that one? Because I actually really like that. Lorenzen can kind of fit in that third, fourth role. You know, you have Zach Wheeler, you have Aaron Nola, Taijuan Walker, and then wrong hair Suarez, you know. But I think he'll fit right in there in between Walker and Suarez. And I think that helps them out because, you know, you're fighting with the Giants, you know, for first wild card spot. And it's like, you know, if you're in the wild card, I mean, I don't want to be that third spot at all. I don't want to be anywhere near that, you know. And so I think right now, I think that was a good move because, I mean, it's a 3-horse race for that third spot right now. You got the Marlins, who are trying to get better, which is kind of funny.
Marlins are going for it, man.
Yeah, the Marlins just kind of, people aren't paying attention because you could see a lot of discourse about, yeah, they should go after this guy and trade this guy. And it's like, no, you don't understand. The Marlins aren't selling. The Marlins are not your sellers. They want Gleyber Torres. I mean, we already know that. They've wanted him for 2 years in a row now. The Arizona Diamondbacks, you know, they look really good. They've kind of fallen off a little bit, but they're still fighting for it. The Milwaukee Brewers, and do not count out the Chicago Cubs, who went out and they got Candelario yesterday. Once again, they're kind of going for it. The Padres made a move. The Mets have already pieced out. They were 6 games out. They're done. They don't want to be a part of it.
That surprises me with San Diego. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
San Diego really surprises me that they're not selling.
I think
it's a mistake.
Yeah.
They should keep Juan Soto. I've always felt like he's a long time. I mean, he's 24. Give me a break.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't sell on him. But I mean, do you realize what you can go get for like a Kim on the market? Certain players in their organization who have been very impactful, they can get a ton for him. And Blake Snell, Hader, because in a year, Josh Hader is going to be, we don't know what Josh Hader last year was horrendous. And then now this year, Josh Hader is one of the best pitchers in baseball. I mean, that goes to show you how just like topsy-turvy the market is in terms of relief. When you're a team that's underperforming and you have a reliever who's playing out of his mind, why wouldn't you go get value long-term for that reliever when you have no short-term use for him? I mean, there's certain guys that are just no-brainer decisions to trade. And the Padres are just going the opposite direction. I mean, I'll always commend a team for buying. I mean, I'll always respect it. But I have to admit, I just was very surprised by that move. I was also surprised how little the Cardinals got for Jordan Montgomery and Jordan Hicks. And I understand because, you know, I had blowback saying they got fleeced, and there were people like, oh, you don't understand. They're on an expiring deal. No, I do understand. But we've seen trades in the past where this is why, like the trade deadline, everyone's like, wait, so you're telling me you had all this time before the trade deadline and then you run out of time? Yes, because that's how you milk the value. I feel like the Cardinals just honestly weren't patient enough. They were like, I don't know if we're going to be able to trade Jordan Montgomery. I don't know, you know? And so they got the first offer. It seems like they jumped on it, and it was not a great offer. And so, in my opinion, like, I feel like the Cardinals definitely should have held out and tried to get more because we've seen it before. I mean, remember, like, the White Sox got 2 top prospects for Jose Quintana a few years back. We got Gleyber Torres.
Yeah, I mean
Gleyber Torres for Aroldis Chapman is a closer. Give me a break.
That's why you wait until the final buzzer. You know.
Yeah, they should have.
And so I think that there are teams, and that's why I think Texas was like very quick to just go out. If you're a buyer, you don't want to buy at the deadline. You want to buy before the deadline. You know, but a lot of these teams...
you don't want to... Oh, wait. So, Jake, you don't want to wait until the Cubs go on a 6-game win streak before you ask for Cody Bellinger?
That would be true.
Damn.
Because...
isn't that crazy how that works?
I mean, that's not just a Yankees thing. That's anybody. If you wanted Cody Bellinger, as soon as the Cubs like lost 6 in a row, you should have been on the phone with them. Now, more often than not, those teams will be like, they'll balk at the idea. But you do get teams that will do it. And that's why if you're a buyer, it's best to get out in front early on than it is to try and get into a bidding war with these teams, late into the trade deadline. In years past, Gary, we would have already been way past trade deadline because it would have been 4 p.m., but they extended it to 6 p.m. this year, which is kind of random. It's kind of weird. It's like right before, game time, at 7. So I don't know, but under 90 minutes away, Mark Feinsand tweeted from the deadline, here are some players to keep an eye on. Eduardo Rodriguez, Jack Flaherty, Jose Quintana, we just mentioned him, James Paxton, and Dylan Cease. I got to say, if the Yankees could get Cease, I'd be pretty happy.
Well, I mean, I guess my thing is this. I don't know how other people feel about him, but I really believe in Nestor Cortez and his long-term stay in New York.
Yeah.
And right now, I just can't see a world where the Yankees are giving up assets whatsoever for an arm of any nature, like a reliever or starter, anything like that, because I feel like, and I don't want to say like I don't want good players, because like Dylan Cease would be fantastic in New York. Obviously, very good pitcher, quality, great spin rate on his fastball. I mean, his analytical numbers are just unbelievable. Okay. Now, having said that, the Yankees lineup is so buns that there's no reason to go acquire a starter. I mean, essentially what I'm telling you is that the New York Yankees could acquire, like, say, just Shohei Ohtani as a pitcher where he's not allowed to hit for us. The Yankees still might miss a wild card spot. That's how bad their lineup is. Okay?
Yeah.
They're bad. Like, the lineup is horrendous. Any asset that the Yankees are willing to give up, in my opinion, should be to a bat. I would love Dylan Cease. I would like it. But
I agree with you. I do like Cease,
great
though.
Teams because of the lineup. Yeah, really like him. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I don't care about his 4 whatever ERA. He gets no run support. I think he probably feels he's just done. Like at this point, like it's like it's kind of a shame. The White Sox looked like they had something there, and then this year just I don't know, the wheels fell off. So Teoscar, so he also mentioned outfielders. Teoscar Hernandez. I don't really see the appeal there. Is a 230 hitter. Tommy Pham, he's really a first baseman, right? I mean, like he's a DH. Like no. Dylan Carlson. I just know. All right, Dylan Carlson, Adam Duvall, and Jurickson Profar. It is not a good. Can we just say that it's not a good crop of outfielders right now? If you need a bat, like. You're kind of hoping somebody that hasn't been mentioned comes out of nowhere. I mean, they're talking about Joey Bart for Christ's sakes right now. The Giants trade talks, like, he was the second overall pick in 2018. Okay, like
what am I supposed to do with that information?
Yeah,
that doesn't actually matter. Right?
No,
what matters is the Yankees fans have been telling you we need a left-handed bat. Now the problem is everyone's like, well, then who do you want us to get? Well, the issue is there is no one to get now. Juan Soto is probably not available.
Yeah,
none of those bats are like Dylan Carlson's not going to thrust the Yankees into a wild card spot. It just doesn't happen.
But there's a switch
multitude of moves. Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. It's like they're like the Yankees love this guy. I'm like, well, that's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, we don't.
You know how many players are on the team? Yeah, like we don't want him, but they're like the Yankees love him. I'm like, well, the Yankees loving somebody doesn't actually mean anything because they don't get more out of less. Like they're not that type of team. When I see the Houston Astros say the Astros really like this guy, what it tells me in my brain is that they see a number that is going to maximize that player. And they have a history to show us that actually transpires. The New York Yankees have no history whatsoever outside of Matt Blake that they can make the most out of anything. So to be honest with you, I'm not interested in any project in New York. I'm interested in proven talent. And right now on the market, there is no proven talent. So sell immediately.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the only one that I'd really be into, and I say Contreras a lot, but like I wouldn't be dying for Contreras. I would love to pick up Lane Thomas. Now, I know he's not a left-handed bat, but he's an outfield bat that is a 280 hitter, can hit, he's got like 25 to 30 home run potential, and he could steal 20, 25 bases a season while also having an over 800 OPS, which only Judge on the team has. So he instantly comes over with 2 years of control, and you're like, all right, this guy he's not going to wow you in name. He's not going to get butts in the seats, so to speak. Most people aren't going to know who he is. But he's a good player, and he's playing for a very bad team right now. The Nationals down the road could be really good. They got a lot of talent. And, I mean, we talked about it last time, C.J. Abrams. Like, he is starting to really come on strong. But
yes, he is, yeah.
But do they have time to really be like, yeah, because by the time that those 2 years are up for Lane Thomas, they're going to have to pay him. So it might kind of be, his trajectory might be a little too close to like the end there where, you're talking about paying this guy, 28 years old, whatever. And those guys aren't quite on that. They're not ready for that yet. So like it might be best to just try to get something for him now. And I think that they could probably snag a couple really, really good prospects. So I think if I was to make a trade, I'd probably want to go after Lane Thomas if Soto's not available, because I still feel like there is an offer out there. If you threw an offer at the Padres, they might entertain it. Because I don't think that the Padres are going to sign Juan Soto. I don't.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to sign him either. I mean, that Bogart steal was horrendous.
Yeah, it was bad.
One of the worst contracts I've ever seen in my life. Great player, awesome player, plays hard, horrendous. I mean, they're paying the guy till he's like 41. It'll be a Pujols deal, essentially. By the time he's like 39, it's a Pujols deal. And what essentially I'm saying is that the Lane Thomas thing, like, I agree. It sounds to me like a good move. But the Yankees, what's kind of crazy about it is that if they don't start making Yankees-like moves, like, not, is this guy a productive player? Okay, let's bring him on. If they don't start making Yankees moves, the Yankees pull is not there in the offseason.
Yeah.
And I think the Yankees are starting to see that, is that there's a backlash to going to get a reclamation DJ LeMahieu, going to, let me grab the cast off of Rizzo. Like, they're not playing well in Chicago anymore. We'll get a revamped Anthony Rizzo with a rejuvenation when he comes here. All of those reclamation projects they've turned into good players. But the issue is that Yankee lore is not there because the star power is not here. So when you fast forward to this offseason, don't even look at Shohei Ohtani. And in 2025, why would you be looking at Juan Soto either? Why would Juan Soto look at the New York Yankees and say, oh, I want to be a Yankee? For what reason? Because Derek Jeter wore pinstripes like 20 years before? Why would that? What is compelling about that right now? Right now, the Yankees are just wearing the same uniforms as a team that was once elite. That's what it is. And they're playing in the same stadium that played elite baseball 14 years ago, to be exact. So I say all that to say this. I agree with the Lane Thomas comment. I really like it. The problem is that if you don't make a big splash, you can't pretend to be the Yankees this offseason in the market. No one's going to look at you the same. That's the problem. And so, in my opinion, the Yankees either need to go full sail, say screw 2023, it's done, or you need to be overpaying on a player like Juan Soto. Because if Juan Soto really wasn't on the market, the Padres would have said he's off the market. Don't call us. We haven't heard that. Juan Soto, for the right offer, is available until we hear otherwise. So if that's the case, the Yankees need to go over there and get Juan Soto. If you don't think Ohtani is going to be here via trade, which obviously now he's not going to be, the next guy is Juan Soto. Don't care where he's playing. You figure it out. He's the left fielder. And if you got to DH him, whatever the case may be, then you're sitting Giancarlo Stanton. You're doing whatever you have to do. Go get the sexy player. And is Lane Thomas a good pickup, to your point? Yeah. And I should have left it to Jake, of course, to go find some. Jake, this is what you do. you go. Jake always finds the correct. Jake honestly should be a GM. I really believe it. But
appreciate that.
But at the same time, yes, it's a good move for the Yankees to go get a guy who can hit for average, who can hit the ball over the yard. Maybe he's not left-handed, but he can hit 280, 2 years of control, all things that would be good things for the Yankees. But the Yankees don't just need good. They don't just need good, serviceable stuff. The Yankees need the sexy, the box office. And to be quite honest with you, if the Yankees did something box office right now, it's still just 3.5 games back. Like, they're not out of it.
No, they're not out.
Things can change really quickly. And I think the only way that you're going to get a rejuvenation out of that locker room is if it's not Lane Thomas, it's someone else. Like, it's someone big time.
Well, I think it would be, and I mentioned it to you, I think it's Lane Thomas and prospects. I think you call up Everson Pereira. Did you see the other day, Baseball America, one of the top analysts just bumped him into their top 10 prospects in the entire MLB?
No, I didn't see that. No.
Like, what? Like, this is what I'm talking about. And then there are people that keep saying, like, Everson Pereira is just like, get on the train now because it's about to leave the station. Like, this guy. So let me talk a little bit about him. He was a contact bat, right? Guy was going to hit probably 270, get on base, steal a lot of bases. Well, he kind of sacrificed a little bit of that. He got better with contact, but he sacrificed that because he put on more weight. So he doesn't steal as many bases, but now he's hitting bombs. So now this guy has power on top of we already knew he was a contact guy. And I'm thinking, after mentioning him in the Ohtani trades, now that Ohtani's off the table, I'm not trading him. I want to see that guy play in the major leagues. I want to see him play right now. I want to see him play over Billy McKinney.
Looking at his numbers right now.
Yeah, he's hitting 320 right now?
He's hitting 302.
Okay, 302, yeah.
I mean, let's not act like a 320 or 302 hitter. I mean, same thing.
Yeah.
Here. I mean, we're talking about a dude who's 300 is dominant, okay? 302, 15 homers, 51 RBIs. He's stolen 7 bags. His ops is 921. This is not a small sample size. This is 242 at bats. This is who he is.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying this guy's going to be Carlos Correa or whatever the case is. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is you cannot tell me that a player like this, if you're not going to make a big splash on the trade market like Juan Soto, right? A player like that's got to be called up. What are we doing? And it says he's listed as a center fielder.
Oh, Eduardo Rodriguez vetoed a trade to the Dodgers.
Really? What?
Dr. Dingus in the comments section just dropped
Didn't want to pay taxes.
Good Lord.
Wow.
I mean, all right.
I respect that.
Dude
didn't want to pay his taxes.
Dude was like, I'm not going to LA.
Not living in LA. Okay.
That is, that's funny. That I like that.
Well,
I like that because it's just funny.
So here's my question. If Everson Pereira is listed as a center fielder, I assume he's playing center field at the AAA level right now, correct?
So he actually started moving over to left field.
What's the Yankees' worst position?
Left field.
Huh.
So why the hell is he not up?
Huh.
This is interesting. You see why I've been bitching about Everson Pereira getting called up? I don't understand. And then you go out and you make a move yesterday to bring up Brito, so you can clearly have you're looking at AAA. But
correct.
You'd rather have Greg Allen, Billy McKinney, and Jake Bauers. And for the love of God, Jake Bauers could have a home run tonight and another home run. He got 4 home runs in a row, 4 straight games. I don't care. He should not be playing. He should not be counted on over some of these guys in the farm.
No, because he's not a prospect.
No.
That's the thing is that he's not a prospect. It's essentially
he's a minor league deal guy.
That's what Matt Carpenter was. It was a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
We all knew that Matt Carpenter
just ended
wasn't
up
going to
being
be here for 4 years.
Incredible. For no reason.
He was incredible.
He was Babe Ruth level.
He was Babe Ruth. But at the same time, we knew like, okay,
This isn't going to
just
last.
because like we knew not even that it wasn't going to last. We just knew that it's like, okay, I mean, I guess that's a good way to describe it. We knew it was a flash in the pan. No matter how great it got, it ends. So this is not a long-term thing. So like if the Yankees are looking at a long-term move, unless you're getting a Juan Soto, which would be awesome. Everson Pereira is 22.
Like, how is
He's
he not up?
22.
What does he have to prove? See,
He's at AAA hitting 300.
See, I texted you this yesterday, and I was just like, I think there's such a thing where prospects actually get ruined because they get so used to AAA and AA pitching that when they get up to the bigs, it's like, what the hell is this? And there's no time for any growth because at that point you wasted, like you have did you see Florial's hitting, his stats? He's hit over 20 home runs this year. And what was the big issue? He doesn't have power. So here's what I keep hearing. I think our minor league coaching, our minor league development is actually really good. I would actually argue that it's some of the best in the MLB. And I would argue that a lot of these guys like are doing the right job, the AAA coaching, the AA coaching. These guys are getting developed. But I think it comes down to guys like Brian Cashman who are just ruining them in the name of service time and whatever else. So do we probably see Pereira this year? Yeah. But do we see him until September? Probably, yeah, because the September call-ups is going to be the thing. And I think that's a mistake. He should be up today. He should be in the lineup today.
The deadline. Like, once the deadline actually passes, then now's the time for Everson Pereira.
You wouldn't have to move him for Lane Thomas. You would not have to move him for Lane Thomas. No. Lane Thomas, all right, so here's what you would do. You would trade, although it is interesting, Trey Sweeney, they moved over to the hot corner. So I wanted to point that out. But Trey Sweeney, you'd probably move, right? So you give him like a fifth or sixth prospect, and then you move Louis Gill. Lane Thomas is yours. I think that's enough.
Right.
Like, it's not going to be a ton, Maybe you give him an additional guy. I don't know, Brito, somebody like that. But it's not going to be a lot. And that's why I think they should make the move and then call up some prospects. Here's, in a perfect world, all right, Aaron Judge is going to first base after this trade deadline. You bring up Pereira, right? So Pereira plays one of the outfield spots. I don't care. You sell Bader at the deadline. So you get some prospects back for Bader. So
clearing an outfield spot. So now Pereira is playing
center field, right?
Okay.
You have Lane in right, and then left field can be whoever you want it to be. I would also say look up Elijah Dunham, who is their 14th prospect. He's hitting very well. He's also playing left field right now. So, I mean, they have options, and if they wanted to throw caution to the wind, they could literally bring Jason Dominguez up and have him play center, have Pereira playing right, and Dunham playing left field, go all in on the prospects, find out what you have in this kind of purgatory-like season, and then that way all right, I'm trading him, I'm not trading him, I'm trading him. Then next year, in the offseason, you make a big play for Ohtani, and you go throw caution in the wind. You get, you try to get Stanton's contract off the books if possible. Donald's does come off the books. You go all out for Ohtani. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You made a play. Then you try Soto. If it doesn't, whatever. But they're to just roll with, how can any fan be okay with Jake Bauers, Greg Allen, and Billy McKinney ever being in the lineup? Let alone all three of them being in the lineup at the same time.
Well, we have been conditioned to be okay with it. And the reason I'd say that,
we've been conditioned to be okay with a Tauchman coming in and playing decent baseball. We've been okay with Torreyes. I was never okay with Torreyes, but
we're actually people were more than okay with that whole Torreyes and the toe and all that stuff. More than okay with it. The fan bases, we have to keep in mind. A lot of people say that baseball's fan base is a bunch of old guys. It's not. If you go to Yankee Stadium, it is a lot of people who are 16 to 20. Okay. These are high schoolers and young college kids. They're plenty okay with the little guy with a big punch in the big city. They were loving it. We love watching young players come up and make a splash, right? Regardless of if we know it's going to be long term or not. We were literally retweeting turtles like a couple years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
We were stoked about doing a thumbs down celebration, right? We can't wait to do things like this. So it's not really like out of the question that Yankees, like our fan base has been conditioned to enjoy like this. Oh, the Greg Allen. Like if Greg Allen came out today and had 3 hits, the Yankees fan base would be like, heck yeah, Greg Allen country, right? And they'd be like, this is whatever. And they'd be like giving him a standing ovation and excited about Greg Allen and wouldn't care that Greg Allen's in the lineup the next day. They would actually be fine with it. And a real organization would look at it and say, it's Greg freaking Allen. It's Greg Allen, okay? Like if you were a Dodgers fan and you brought in a player who everyone said is bad, and then he plays well for like a short period of time, doesn't mean he's good or that you should want him in there. But Yankees fans will have like Everson Pereira, if he was called up and he played well for a short period of time, not only is he going to be good for that short period of time, there's potential that you have a player who's going to be part of your organization until 2032. That's what's at stake. And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is how you convince players that your team is the team to choose in free agency. Your team is going to be a long-term contender, which by the way is it's part of the reason why we're going to struggle to get Ohtani, is that not only do we have to convince him to go to the East Coast, we have to convince him why we're going to be good at all. It's a problem. So if we don't do this, if we don't make a big trade in Juan Soto, which I expect we won't, and we don't call up Everson Pereira, there's no opportunity for us to sell a free agent on who we are. There's none whatsoever. So that's why I said earlier, you got to crap or get off the pot. You have to make a decision one way or the other. You either sell or buy. And if you're going to sell, get Bader out of there, get some of these guys out of there. These young players, and Everson Pereira, maybe a Jason Dominguez, Spencer Jones, who we love, both of us love. We've talked about him a few times. He'll be up, and he might be up early. Spencer Jones might be here next year late.
I said that in our kick stream. I was like, I wouldn't be surprised. Gary, I'll say this, okay? So IKF earlier today, the Jays were checking in on before they came up with Dijon. Okay. The Marlins just added some pop. They got Jake Berger. They gave up their number 4 prospect for Jake Berger, so he has like 20-something home runs. The Padres, I think you saw this already, but if you didn't, they just literally acquired 40-plus-year-old Rich Hill. Love it. This guy will literally pitch until he's 50.
For what, though?
It does not say. Him and G-Man Choi, they just got. I see the Padres are weird. So they'll go out and look at a 40-plus-year-old pitcher in Rich Hill and then say, like, they want a lot for Hader. But it's like, wouldn't you be getting a guy like Rich Hill if you weren't going to trade a guy like Hader? And that's why I think, like, low-key Soto is available, like, for the right price. I don't think the Padres even know what they're doing. And then Joel Sherman just put out that the Yankees are looking at Manuel Margot. And here's my thing on that. Right-handed bat, not really what he used to be, right? He used to hit for average. I mean, now, he's hitting 254. He doesn't have power. I don't really... It goes back to what we were talking about, Gary. I mean, if you're into the bag of Manuel Margot or Teoscar Hernandez, just call up some of these guys, for the love of God.
Margot is better than... Let me ask you this. Do we really believe that you're going to convince me that Margot is going to be better than Pereira?
No. Not at all.
How is he better?
Like,
better at what? That's what I need to understand.
This is the MLB trade deadline being the let's just make a move to make a move event. Like, that's just making a move to make a move. I mean, I felt like low-key the Bader move they made, while it looked good this year going into it, because it's like, oh, we have a center fielder. It was a move to make a move. They didn't have to get rid of Jordan Montgomery. Like, it just...
they didn't.
It felt like Cashman was going with the whole quantity over quality. It's why, honestly, if they just, like... They say they don't get Montas, right? And then they call up Waldichuk or they call up Luis Medina halfway through the season. They couldn't have been any worse than Montas was, right? And in addition to that, like, to me, Benintendi was fine. I was glad they got Benintendi. Like, until he got hurt, like, he would have been a big deal for their postseason run. And honestly, let's just think about it like this. Last year, they could have won a World Series. If a couple things bounced their way, I'd make the argument, you know, when Carpenter got hurt, I think Carpenter fell off because of the injury. You know, I don't think I think he actually was going to continue playing at that level the rest of the year. I don't think it was going to be long term. He's at the end of his, you know, career, but that's the thing that sucks. And so, you know, okay, you didn't give Benintendi that money. That's kind of why I'm looking at Leighton Thomas and I'm like, that would be like Benintendi with some pop. So I think if you add a bat like that, these guys aren't all going to be struggling forever, right? I guess I'm getting a little bit more optimistic for the people out there that are still, you know, thinking this team has a shot. Not all these guys are going to be slumping the way they are forever, you know? And we've talked about that. I mean, we were getting on Torres and then we turned around. Now Torres is the second best hitter on the team. I mean, that just happened like overnight.
Far and away. Yeah, he's far and away the second best player.
So, you know, could I not make the argument? I mean, maybe Rizzo's done. I don't know. It seems weird. Maybe he has some injury that we don't know about or whatever. I don't know. But it seems like he's done. But maybe he comes out August and just dominates. You know, like that's the thing. Rizzo started off the season as the number one hitter on the team in average.
Yep.
So we're like, oh. Wait, you mean to tell me Rizzo's now hitting for average? Like, teams are in trouble. And then he fell off immediately, and he's been the worst hitter in Major League Baseball the last 2 months.
Yeah.
I can't see that continuing, right? As much as I want to be annoyed and pessimistic and everything, like, baseball is just, it's a game of, you know, slumps, and you go through your peaks and valleys. And so I think that it's kind of ridiculous. They are above 500, you know. The way I look at it is that if any of these guys can get going alongside Judge, and Judge isn't going to get into a crazy slump. Like, his slumps are like, he's not hitting home runs, right? He strikes out a lot when he's doing well. So we don't have to worry about that. Like, that's just him. You have to accept that.
That's who he is.
So
yes.
Aaron Judge, you get somebody alongside him and say Torres continues this, right? Volpe's hitting, what, 270 or 280 since that whole whatever sandwich thing. So, I mean, he's been better, obviously, from afar. If you're just looking at the average, it doesn't look great. But, you know, the trend is he's trending upward. So you have those guys. IKF, if they don't trade him, he's somebody that's working at bats. He saw almost 40 pitches the other day and helped them win that game. 3-run double. You know, he's somebody that can hit for average to a degree. And so, you know, now it's like, okay, you have IKF, you have Aaron Judge, you got Gleyber Torres. And I don't know if it's going to happen, but if like Stanton could get onto one of those, you know, where he goes nuclear moments, or Rizzo figures it out, then you got another guy. LeMahieu, I just saw, is hitting 314 over the last like 20 games. I didn't know that. So LeMahieu, I guess, has somewhat figured it out at the plate, somewhat. So there's actually more optimism here, where if you get a guy like, you know, Lane Thomas, you go out and you get, you know, you go out and you bring, you don't have to go out, just call up, you know, Pereira. Then, I mean, maybe like who's available at catcher, or you call up Austin Wells.
And that to me is buying and selling at the same time.
And that I don't hate. That I don't hate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it.
Because I think really they're buyers, but at the same time, I think they kind of like, they know the writing is on the wall with Bader, and at the same time, maybe by them trading Bader, they call up Pereira. Maybe that was always the goal here, but that would be giving them too much credit. I'm just saying that if they get Lane Thomas and they call up Pereira and maybe Wells, they could make this somewhat interesting. But I think they can't just sit on their, on themselves and be like, yeah, we're going to do nothing. And Gary, unfortunately, with 44 minutes left in this trade deadline, the Yankees are trending towards doing literally nothing.
If they do nothing, I'm here to tell you right now, they're going to quit. I joke you not, this team, which I don't know how many people watched the game yesterday, the New York Yankees quit. That was, I understand that they had an arm on the other side that was very good in glass now. I got that, right?
Oh, they quit. They quit.
They quit.
If Herman starts that game, they might have actually won that game. I'm going to stand by that.
Yeah, but they quit. If you watch the lineup, when I tell you, anytime you watch the Yankees struggle, a lot of times the way the game will work is that the Yankees will come out and when they don't have it going, they're striking out a lot in innings 1 through 6. Okay, you watch 1 through 6. It feels like the game is just like there's nothing going on. Okay, but then all of a sudden, in the 7th, 8th, or 9th, one of those innings, the Yankees would just like have a hit by pitch. A guy would work like some 0-2 count, get on base somehow, and then they'd hit a 3-run bomb, and you're like, oh my God, we're right back in this, right? And I'm not saying you have to hit a 3-run bomb to make it seem like you didn't quit, but you would see at some point over the course of 27 outs, some sign of life. The New York Yankees did absolutely nothing to trend in any direction whatsoever. The demeanor of the players standing in the field, the demeanor of the way hitters were standing in the box was that of a team that was waiting for Brian Cashman to send some help, and he hadn't. That's what it looked like. Now, whether or not that's true, I'm not going to say it's true because I'm not in the locker room. I don't know how players are feeling. But what I can tell you is that watching the Yankees, they don't look like a team that's 3.5 out. They look like a team that season is over.
Yeah, so they do.
That has to change somehow. And that actually is the only reason why I'm not down for the whole, like, I'm good with like the Lane Thomas, Pereira immediately. Like, I'm down with that. But what I'm not down for is a Lane Thomas, throw him in left field, and then Harrison Bader's in center field. And then they leave things the same, but they made the addition of one player. That, to me, is a team. Because Lane Thomas, essentially what you're doing is you're going to bring him in. They'll probably hit him leadoff. He's going to show up and struggle for like 3 or 4 days, which is no amount of time whatsoever. It's a lot of pressure. And the team will quit. It's a disaster. So I really like the big splash because we just haven't made it. And I feel like at some point you have to give the players in the locker room some sign that you guys aren't napping. And right now they look like they're asleep at the wheel. You said it. We're 40 minutes away from the deadline. We haven't even seen as much as a rumor of something good happening. Nothing. Yeah,
we have some quotes that will make you want to punch a wall. I mean, first off, Aaron Boone said they're still deciding on if Severino will start on Friday.
How? How's he start?
I mean, to me, that's on Boone. That's not on Cashman. That's on Boone.
I agree. Yes, it is.
Yep. And I'm not defending Cashman. I'm just saying in that sense. But then
that's bad. Did
you see Aaron Boone on the trade deadline per Chris Kirschner? You could see everything from nothing to guys leaving to guys coming. Wow, thank you. Thank you for the most PR. Actually, it's not even PR because PR takes a brain. Like, I saw a comment that was like, beep, boop, beep, boop, boop, boop. Like, yep, dude's literally a robot. Like, that just sounded like it was a robot. Like, what the hell? And so
we haven't decided what we're going to do, but we could decide that, I mean, all the way up to Juan Soto to down to Alek Thomas, or it could be someone else. But
yeah,
once we make all the phone calls that we need to make, then we'll ultimately make those decisions when we make them, and then obviously we'll circle back and see what we got.
Oh my God!
Thank you.
I love Yankees Twitter during this time of year because it just shows you we know our organization so well. I saw a tweet that said it was like, how much you want to bet Cashman's going to come out and say, getting back so-and-so, I think it was Loizaga, getting back Nestor and getting back Judge is like making 3 trades at the trade deadline. And I was like, that's so sad because they're spot on. Yeah. That's what, like, he's probably going to say that. And I got to tell you, I mean, John Boy retweeting that like robotic Aaron Boone quote with "love the plan" is hilarious to me. But, there's been 3 players that have been linked to the Yankees in the last hour. Manuel Margot, who, again, I don't see how that is any better than what they have in the minors. Seth Brown from the freaking A's, who's hitting 192 and has minimal power. And then the other guy. Yeah. And then the other guy is Dylan Carlson, who basically the Cardinals are not trading unless they get Clark Schmidt. And I'm not trading Clark Schmidt. Not doing. I'm not putting a giant gaping hole in a rotation. You can't say the Yankees get better with that move, because if they move Clark Schmidt, you're basically saying, all right, Severino. Like, Severino's going to stay in the rotation. That's what they're saying, Gary. If they make that move, they're saying Severino is locked in even when Nestor comes back. At this point, the rotation needs to be Garrett Cole, Rodon, Nestor, Herman, and Schmidt. That's it, okay? Severino is out of the rotation, and they've learned to live without Severino. Severino's become an issue. He can't stay healthy, and now that he's healthy, air quotes needed, he's getting eviscerated. He's the worst pitcher in the league. So, big reason why the Yankees aren't doing well right now, they have arguably the worst hitter in baseball, and they have the worst pitcher in baseball, and they're starting. They're relying on those 2 guys. So Rizzo can turn it around. I do not see Severino turning it around. Dingus says, looks like the value for Dylan Cease has went up with Rodriguez vetoing that trade. White Sox want Jackson Holiday from Orioles. Dodgers may be in the mix now, too.
Jackson Holiday, they're never in a million years.
Orioles better not do that.
That'd be the worst trade ever.
That'd be awful. Rams Tube, guys, I'm new to baseball. You know how Schefter and Rappaport are the main trade guys for NFL. Who are the main guys for MLB? I know John Morosi is up there. Mark Seinfeld. Seinfeld.
Bob Nightingale is also
Bob
a reporter.
Nightingale. Jeff Passan is probably my favorite.
I mean, realistically, you only need to follow one.
Well, I don't know. I think because there's stuff.
Honestly, Jeff Passan. I mean, they're gonna say, if you just want to know the news, they're eventually gonna relay it to you.
Yeah, they'll retweet it.
But in terms of getting it first, I mean, yeah, baseball's got a lot. We have a lot of reporters in baseball, man.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of guys. Jack Flaherty's value also went up. Yeah, I mean,
I'm not high on Jack Flaherty. I'll be honest.
I'm not either. Look, I have nothing against the Cardinals, but there's not one guy that I actually wanted outside of. I think I would have taken Montgomery back, and I would have taken. I would have gone with both of those guys. I would have taken Jordan Montgomery and Jordan Hicks. That's it. That's all I wanted from the unless you're giving me somebody crazy, if I'm getting Jordan Walker, that's the only Arenado is not available. He never was available. I don't buy any of that for a second. There's just not anybody there, and I think that's the thing is they're doing their best to sell, but they don't really have a lot. The Giants got Pollock yesterday, which I forgot to mention. The Giants are
Pollock's not a bad player.
No, that's I like the move for them.
Pollock just usually struggles to stay on the field. He's honestly kind of like Bader.
Yeah. And I think, that's kind of the risk you run. And it's why not all center fielders give their body like that. It's it looks great on the highlight reel and it'll save a run every now and then. But if you think about it, the risk with the injuries, is it even worth it to be one of those Torrey Hunter type of center fielders anymore? I don't think so.
Probably not.
Yeah, the Dodgers and Tigers actually had a trade in place, and Eduardo Rodriguez invoked his 10-team no-trade clause.
Wow, so he decided he wanted to live in Detroit
Yeah, stock down
as
LA.
opposed to LA. Wow.
I don't think Detroit is going up the rungs or anything like that. I think that's just, I mean, wow, that's saying something.
And I will say Detroit actually wasn't a bad place because you don't live in downtown Detroit. I mean, you're going to live in most likely Birmingham. Birmingham is actually a really nice city in Michigan, for those who don't know. But, I mean, to veto a trade to the Dodgers, and the Dodgers are, everyone's expecting essentially to be in the postseason and all that, and go get Ohtani next year. So, I mean, being a Dodger sounds like a pretty fun deal right now to me. I don't think I'd be vetoing it.
That's interesting. And also, I got to tell you, I don't know if I would, going back to the Margot thing, so I don't know if I would be giving up, well, I do know, because I wouldn't be giving up prospects to a rival. If a rival is going to trade me Margot, that tells me all I need to know about Margot. And the Rays, they are trying to trade him. He's owed $10 million next year, $12 million in 2025, with a $2 million buyout. I don't see how on earth you would go after him.
Wait a minute. Here's my question: how would we go after Margot, who's owed that money,
when we couldn't get Heimer,
get
Candelario?
How does that make sense? I'm actually I'm not even trying to be funny. I'm actually wondering because I assume that Candelario isn't even making that amount of money.
No, $2 million.
So, yeah. So I don't So we're either being lied to, or that's just not, that rumor is just not correct.
Yeah.
That's the way I would look at it. I mean, because Margot is not a better player.
Not even close.
So that it just doesn't make sense in terms of fit for the Yankees. Candelario is a much better fit for the Yankees. But
Margot's best season. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
So Margot's real best season that you can make the argument is truly his best season. We'll say his second year in the league with the Padres, age 22. He had 13 homers. He stole 17 bases. And he had a 721 OPS with a 263 batting average.
That is 2017 Aaron Hicks.
Dude, that's all I was thinking. They're literally trying to get Aaron Hicks 2.0. That's not good.
Right.
And if I'm Margot, I don't want to go to the Yankees because I don't want to shave my beard.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're looking for serviceable, by the way, because that's what it seems like, is Margot would be like a serviceable guy. If that's what you're doing, then just call someone up.
That's what I'm saying. He's a little bit better than Greg Allen.
Yep.
I mean, he's a little bit more than a little bit better than Greg Allen, but you get my point. It's that type of guy.
He's better than Greg Allen, but he's definitely not approaching anything better than league average.
The irony is they talk about home runs and everything. Notice all the guys the Yankees have been linked to are not home run hitters. Carlson, not a home run hitter.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if there's a little bit of a culture change going on where they're actually trying to go more towards contact, which I almost I want to give you credit. I really do, because I like that. At the same time, it is stupid not to go after a guy. It's stupid to go after guys that, you call them contact bats. I mean, I'm looking at Carlson and I'm 230 hitter, 6 homers. He's not good. I talked to my friend who is a Cardinals fan this morning. I was like, is it bad that I don't want Carlson? And she was like, no, it's not bad at all. He's regressed.
No, he's not that good.
Considerably. Yeah. He was supposed to be great, and now he's fallen off, and nobody in St. Louis wants him. So if St. Louis fans don't want him, and I don't want him, I didn't want him before I knew that St. Louis fans didn't want him. I don't know. We're coming on to 30 minutes left in the deadline. I mean, you would have thought by now.
Colton Wong was just traded. Where was he traded to?
He was traded?
Yeah, it says Colton Wong is saying goodbye to teammates in the clubhouse. It was just tweeted 4 minutes ago, but I don't see any report about where he's going. It says JT Realmuto was scratched from the lineup. His throwing hand. Okay, so they don't need to tell us that.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not getting rid of
Colton
JT
Wong.
Realmuto.
Yeah, Colton Wong is saying goodbye to teammates in the clubhouse. So he's being
Interesting.
traded somewhere. Yeah.
I mean, you know who I think would be awesome on this team? Steven
Jock
Kwan.
Peterson. Stephen Kwan.
I-
I'd like Jock Peterson.
Well,
That's who I want here.
Yeah, no, I definitely Jock Peterson would be nice.
Stephen Kwan. Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of pop, but if you want to bring that, contact bat, 290 hitter,
I got a trade for you.
Oh, one that just happened?
The Texas Rangers are acquiring Austin Hedges from the Pittsburgh Pirates.
So the Texas Rangers are still making moves, and the Yankees are the only team in the MLB that has not been involved in a move.
That is correct.
They're the only team. I just saw it. There's a tweet. Katie Sharp confirms they're the only team that hasn't made a move. And that one dude that was saying on Yankee Twitter that they were going to trade so-and-so for Bednar, I don't think they're going to make a move. And Dodgers...
This is crazy.
Dodgers are interested in Clark Schmidt and Connor Falefa.
I can understand why they're interested in IKF because the Dodgers actually have been interested in IKF for a while.
IKF would be perfect for a team that is just, they need one more utility infielder that can also play the outfield, that could play catcher in an emergency situation. That is a team that's vying to win it all.
Okay, so IKF, I mean, I don't really know, unless you're just getting prospects. I mean, that's the thing about the Yankees is it's really difficult because if the Yankees are selling, you can't sell. Like you can't. IKF, I think we both can agree, has actually been very good the last bit here. Like IKF has actually been one of our best at bats.
I mean, his issue is that Aaron Boone doesn't put him in the lineup consistently. So when he's generating good at bats and he's trying to build some consistency and he's in a rhythm, he takes him out of the rhythm by benching him for freaking Billy McKinney,
Right.
Which is asinine. Oh, I want to throw this your way.
Okay.
Michael Kay said today when the Yankees traded for Stanton, he was top 1 to 3 in sprint speed in the league. Now his sprint speed is 4 percentile.
Well, you know what's actually kind of crazy about it? Is that actually true about his sprint speed?
Yeah. Michael Kay said it apparently today on his show.
Okay, so one thing about Giancarlo is that the reason that he's so low in terms of sprint speed is intentional. He's so afraid, and I said this to you maybe a couple weeks ago, Jake. He's intentionally not running because he knows his history of soft tissue injury is so extensive. He's afraid to run.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to get hurt. Those ideas of like running into the wall as a center fielder and all that. No, Giancarlo is going full board the opposite way. He's doing everything he's doing to stay healthy. Okay? And unfortunately, when you do that, you're not going to sprint. When you're 6'5", 240 pounds, yeah, hitting a ground ball to shortstop and trying to leg it out at first base is not the best way to stay on the field. And also, Giancarlo knows if I get hurt, they're going to be livid.
Oh, yeah.
So the dude is hitting ground balls. Dude, he's hitting ground balls with man on first base with less than 2 outs, and he's like practically jogging down to first base.
Oh, yeah.
He's hardly moving at all,
Absolutely.
which is intentional because he knows I don't want to be rounding into a double play. I'm also not lazy, but he does not want to get hurt. It's like the last thing he wants is that. So I think that's part of the reason why that's happening. I really do. And I think the Yankees now, they probably are going to have to attach like heavy prospects to get rid of them. But Giancarlo Stanton, in order to be traded, I mean, you're talking about if I'm a team acquiring Giancarlo, you're sending me a top 10 prospect, like multiple prospects for me to take his contract. And the Yankees are still going to be eating some of it, but I would be shocked if Giancarlo's career ends in New York. I just would.
Oh, I would too. I still cannot, like, okay, I didn't think the Yankees were going to come out in this trade deadline and just take over, right? I didn't think they were going to make move after move. But this standing pat is such a horrible look for Cashman. And it's such a horrible look for Boone. And it's such a horrible look for this organization. And I'm going to tell you right now, this literally confirms that Hal needs to sell the team. Because if Cashman isn't that scared to make a move about his job, that means Cashman has never been under any sort of hot seat. That means that everything is going to remain exactly the same. And what Olney said yesterday about nothing changing even if they miss the playoffs, that is the reality. The New York Yankees are a rich organization because of George Steinbrenner, but they are not a good organization anymore. That book has closed. Now, I don't think if they haven't won if they haven't won a title, since 2009, I don't know when the next time they'll win a title. Right now, I don't feel like they're going to win a World Series with Aaron Judge and Garrett Cole. I don't. Because to not even bother, right? To not even bother making even a sell move at the deadline. You're going to keep things exactly the way they are. Looking at this team, like you said, they're 3.5 out of the wild card. And you're just going to be like, yeah, we're standing pat. Greg Allen's good enough for us. Billy McKinney's good enough for us. Jake Bauers is good enough for us. I mean, Gary, that is just not acceptable. I mean, we're coming on. Dude, we got 23 minutes left.
This goes back, though, to exactly what I said about the temperament of Hal Steinbrenner. He is perfectly okay. And the fact that Buster Olney can come out and say something like that, which I believe that report to be his opinion on that, I believe to be perfectly true.
Yes.
Is that if the Yankees don't make the playoffs, we won't see big moves. And I could tell you right now, the fact that that's the case, no one should be buying tickets to go to Yankee Stadium. Hey, if we don't make playoffs, it won't affect us that much. We're not going to make any big moves. Any organization that's making more money than any other team, you should never be buying tickets. Why would you go to the stadium? Tell me that. It shouldn't be some tourist attraction and we were in New York and we just stopped by Yankee Stadium for what? Because we're part of the issue. We're part of the issue. Why are we going to the games? And like I just said, the Yankees are 3.5 out despite doing absolutely nothing this year. Rizzo's been terrible. Glaber's been good, right? Volpe's he was terrible for basically half the year, and he's starting to get it going. DJ's been terrible. I don't care that he's hitting 312 his last however many games. We played Kansas City. We played 2 teams that were just dog shit. So it's like, I mean, come on. So like, I'm looking at this team, and if it doesn't fire you up that we're sitting here standing pat at the deadline, 3.5 games out, we're making more money than anybody else, and then writers are coming out publicly saying, yeah, they're not going to do nothing. Are you kidding me? With that temperament? That is practically a zombie running the organization.
Man. And Bader. So, I mean, they're just giving Bader a day off. Like, essentially, he wasn't gonna get traded. Connor Falefa wasn't gonna get traded. It was just a bunch of nonsense. Gary, I mean, we're talking 20 minutes left in the deadline. The Yankees aren't making a move.
No, hold on. Look at Mark Feinstein. Let me read this tweet, okay? Dylan Carlson has been on the Yankees radar for 2 weeks. Under control through 2026, switch hitter. Can play all 3 outfield positions. Yankees will need a center fielder next season. Harrison Bader is a free agent and need a left fielder right now. Okay, let me laugh at this tweet real quick. Dylan, the Yankees need a center fielder next year. You know who's the center fielder next year? Cody Bellinger. He's a free agent.
But yeah, Dylan Carlson, that's the move.
They need a left fielder. No, so essentially what that tweet should have said was Dylan Carlson has been on the radar for 2 weeks. Okay, he's under control till 2026. He's a switch hitter. He can play all 3 outfield positions, but the Yankees need a left fielder right now. he would likely plug in left field. Don't tell me about what the Yankees need in center field. If
Oh
Dylan
yeah.
Carlson is the center fielder for the Yankees in 2024, I'm not watching. Are you kidding me? Dylan Carlson, hey, yeah, this is our long-term play and also the short term to help us. Dylan Carlson's your starting center fielder of the Yankees. Are you kidding me?
It's standing pat. I cannot. I mean, they haven't come out and said it, but they don't need to.
Because if we receive Dylan Carlson right here in the next 10 minutes, that's nothing.
No.
They didn't do anything.
No, and that's not. He's a 230 hitter, 6 home runs. Like, what does that contribute? Oh, he's a switch hitter. Like, he's under control. I mean, okay. Well, you have Pereira who's under control. You could just like that's if I think that was the one thing where I'll say this, if the Yankees at least call up some of their guys and just decide, you know what, we're gonna ride it with the young guys, I'll at least be like, okay, they stood pat. They wanna give their young guys this chance. But you know what tells me that's not the case and they're just standing pat because they're scared or they just don't care? Look at the lineup. Look at the lineup today.
Right.
There was no call up about Everson Pereira. They care more about
because he would have been here
time.
right this second.
Yeah. They care more about service time than they do about getting the actual best guys on the field. And here's the problem with that. The Yankees fans are not conditioned to think this way. We're used to trying to win a championship. So you can't operate your organization like this. Like, you're going to lose people. Like, people are just going to not turn the TV on anymore, no matter what Michael Kay says. I don't think people care about their fandom being in question. I mean, some do. I personally don't. I got a lot of shit to do. I can't watch every single 162 game the Yankees play. I definitely don't feel the urge. Maybe I turn it on, right? And maybe I watch it. I don't feel the urge to go and watch a Greg Allen let-off lineup. You know? I don't feel the urge to watch Jake Bauers at the plate. I don't feel the urge to watch Billy McKinney. As a matter of fact, Gary, I can't believe in 2023 the Yankees are trotting those 3 guys out on a consistent basis.
Yeah, and Jake, what does fan mean? What is fan short for?
Fanatic.
Are we sure fanatic doesn't mean undying support, will not ever turn it off if it's not enough, right? No. Fanatic means fanatic, okay?
I feel like people just kind of reinvent that word fan. Like, it's like the most gate-kept word ever. Like, oh, he's a fair weather fan. He's a, like, bro, there's no such thing as fair weather fans in baseball. You play 162 games.
I wouldn't be watching this team. No, if I was a fair weather fan, I would not be a Yankees fan.
If I was a fair weather fan, I wouldn't be talking about them ever. They wouldn't be in my vocabulary. I wouldn't be tweeting about them. I wouldn't waste my breath.
No, we wouldn't be doing this. That's what they don't understand. And I said something, right?
I love Michael Kay too. I just disagreed with what he said.
Yeah, and he came out and said, and he tried to explain to me what he was saying, right?
Yeah.
Which was that, well, no, what I'm saying is that if you turn off the Yankees and you don't watch, okay, and you're not watching the New York Yankees, say, for the next year, and you wait until they win, and then you show up when they win, and I said, yeah, okay,
I agree with that, but that's not how it was worded.
No, it's improper wording, and I told him that.
That's a way different thing.
Right, and I said the reality is this: if J.K. Rowling wrote a book, Harry Potter, the next edition of the series, and she decided, instead of making all the preparations and making sure everything was written properly, all the plot makes sense and everything like that, and you went and read the next book and there were like 12 different plot holes, none of it really made sense, the work wasn't up to her standards, how dare she ask you to go buy her next book?
Yeah.
How dare you question the prior work of J.K. Rowling, right? How dare you question it? No. You need to put forward the work and the effort to get me to buy your product. The Yankees are selling us something, okay? They go get players. They put on the damn uniform. And then Michael Kay gets paid to go talk about him. Okay? You go get paid to do the color commentary, into which I think he does a fantastic job of watching the
Yes.
game and telling us a story about what's happening at the game. Okay? I have showered him with praise over the years, and it's something I've told him privately and publicly. Okay? That said, no one should feel like they have to watch this to be a fan. This is bad. We are spending over $100 million more than any other team in the division, and we are in last place. The team's bad. Whether he won't call for firings, okay? We won't call. We're putting into question not Brian Cashman's job and the job he's doing. He's not doing that, but he's calling into question us, the people who are spending the money. We're spending the money and we don't get anything back, by the way. No Yankees fan right now is getting anything back from being a fan of this team. They don't pay us. It's free. And if anything, it costs you money every year.
Oh, yeah.
To go to a game, to buy a chicken bucket, because I promise you they're not worth $20. I like the chicken bucket, not worth $20. You insist on it being $20 and we'll pay it. We're supporting you. We're traveling in droves all over the country to go to games. And what we have to show for it is our fandom, right? Our ability to be a fan is being called into question because we don't want to watch something. What are we talking about?
No, I'm with you. And, you know, it's funny. Yes Network tweets out 23 hours ago. Okay. So right around this time, yesterday, it all starts tonight, quotes. So they were hyping this up. They had a trade deadline special on Yes. Jack Curry 3 hours ago, I would describe the Yankees as cautious buyers in a dwindling and less than impressive trade market. That wording tells me, if I saw that, earlier, I would have assumed they're not doing anything.
The D-backs. Guess who just got Tommy Pham? Do you see it?
I hope not the D-backs.
The Arizona Diamondbacks.
Why? Why did they
They traded an outfielder to go get a closer, and they go get Tommy Pham.
Oh,
Why?
Lord. Oh, Lord. I don't understand this obsession with Tommy Pham. I really don't.
I'll be right
it.
back. I got to get my charger. My computer is on 2%.
Oh, yeah. Don't want to lose you.
My bad. Yeah, I'll be terrible.
Yeah. All right, so let's look at the comments since I've done a horrible job. I hope you guys haven't left. Dan, I'm not a kid anymore. I'm a grown man. I don't have the time to watch every Yankee game anymore. I hear you. Injuries have killed Stan. Totally hear you. Dr. Dingus, could you see the Yankees taking the Red Sox approach? Seems like they have moved away from bringing in big stars. I could see that. Dan, I like IKF and Clark, but if the Dodgers could give us solid prospects or players in general, I think I'd do the trade depending on what we get. That would be interesting. Live in Detroit. We know Gary meant survive. What's up, Alex? Jack Flaherty's value has also went up. Let's see. Let's see here.
Okay, we're back.
K-Box says, go Astros. Great show, gentlemen. Thank you, K-Box. Alex, convinced Cashman is running some bizarro Willy Wonka competition to see who's the biggest kiss ass or someone who won't put up with the bullshit you two they're putting out to take over the team. Marco Go Crazy asked if you participated in the Little League World Series back in the day.
No, I didn't. So actually, I was supposed to be on team. It was the Awatuki team that went to the Little League World Series, and it was actually with the Kingeries. So for people who are fans of the Philadelphia Phillies, Scott Kingery was on that team. I was on the team with both Kingeries, and I ended up moving out of district, so I didn't get to go with them to the Little League World Series, even though we qualified.
That sucks.
Yeah, I was supposed to be in it. Unfortunately, didn't happen.
Did not have. Did you see that one kid with his batting average that's making batting stance that's making waves?
No, I didn't.
Like, literally, it's getting to the point where people are like, I don't even want to watch the Little League World Series ever again. It should not be televised. After this one kid was in a full-on squat, trying to, like, basically, like, minimize the strike zone.
Wait, that happened in Major League Baseball.
What?
You didn't see that?
I don't know if I want to see it.
Major League Baseball. Yeah, no, it happened in Major League Baseball, like in like the 1910s or something crazy. A dude would show up and he would just squat down in the batter's box all the way down. And it shows like the famous picture is like the catcher going like this, and the ball's like would be in the strike zone, but it's obviously like way above his chest, and they called it a walk.
That's awful.
So he just went to first base. Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah. Well, that kid, oh God, it looked even worse because he was a kid. So like he's so small, and yeah, it just didn't go over well with the fans.
Whoa. The Baltimore Orioles are finalizing a deal for right-hander Jack Flaherty.
Oh wow.
I don't like Jack Flaherty. I don't think he's very good.
But
I mean,
that's intriguing though.
But very intriguing that Baltimore's doing this.
It's funny because I'd put Jack Flaherty in kind of that same bubble as like you have your Dean Kramer and your Wells, and wouldn't you believe it? It's all the pitchers that they have kind of the same guy, just like 3 different versions of the same guy. They also have what's his name? Well, Bradish, I know they have him, but they have Gibson. Yes. Wells, and Kramer are the same pitchers. They're just a little bit different. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
They're like the same
Yeah, the
tier
one thing I
pitchers.
will say about Flaherty, though, is that he tends to give up a lot of homers to right-handed hitters. And obviously where the most home runs go is to the pull side. Well, which field is it that no one's really hitting bombs to left field? Baltimore.
Yeah. So that could help.
I'm not
him.
saying it could help. I'm not saying it would make it work, but I mean, you have to admit pitching in Baltimore as a righty that gives up bombs potentially to left field. I mean, like you can argue Nestor Cortez, the best field he could possibly pitch at is Baltimore, because the times when Nestor Cortez gives up runs is to that little cutter to right-handed hitters, and they'll take them deep to left field. Well, in Baltimore, that kind of eliminates that. So I don't know. I don't hate it for Baltimore, but
I don't
feel like, it's okay.
Yeah, I like that move for Baltimore because I think it's probably relatively low risk. I mean, you're not going to see giant packages at the deadline because this just is a historically bad trade deadline. There's not a lot of good options. I mean, if you have a team that's interested in Manuel Margot, like giving out actual assets to acquire Manuel Margot, I mean, that's all you need to know. Supposedly Colton Wong was designated for assignment, and the Red Sox are trying to trade for him. Interesting. What was it?
Okay.
I wanted to go. What's up, Fish? If you're still in here, how you doing? Let's see. I'm looking at all the comments.
I'm trying to figure out a fit for Dylan Cease.
The Yankees. I mean, it would be really cool. Jeremiah, appreciate you being in here. Dan was making me laugh, but we kept like rolling, so I forgot to read the comments. But it's like, Gary, if you were the owner, would you still like the owner of the Yankees? Like when you're making that analogy, it was like, Gary, if you were the owner, would you still stream on Kick sometimes? Like that's all he's worried about.
You know what's really just so funny is like being the owner it's so much PR work. And I can honestly tell you guys, people that are transparent couldn't be an owner. Like they really couldn't unless like they have a really good track record, like a really good track record for always trying to do the good thing. And I can honestly tell you, like, for example, the Dodgers, their management is pretty open with what they're trying to do long term, which is why no one really questions what they do and when they buy and when they don't. Because people always say, well, if they don't buy, it's because they're setting themselves up to buy next year. And people believe it because of their track record, and which I mentioned earlier. But for me, maybe in my Yankees tenure, I mean, I guess people would like that I'm aggressive, but I'm going to tell them this isn't working. I mean, you do the same thing. At least we think so, right?
Yeah.
At least we think that's how we'd operate, is that if we're going to sell, people have an understanding of, okay, Harrison Bader's scratched today. The reason he's scratched is because this is what we're planning on doing. This is our vision. And once we let people know the vision, people won't be speculating and doing podcasts about what could be at work. They would just know.
I mean, they'd still be doing podcasts, but yeah, no, I know what you mean. I think for me, I would operate like kind of like if I was an owner of a team, I would make sure I had the best possible minds in place. Never look at myself as I know all of the, all the facts and everything. Now, if I'm a general manager, like, I'm the guy. Like, I'm going to make those moves. I know what I'm doing.
No.
What? Oh, no. Dude, do I even want to know? Is it a Yankee move?
No, it's not a Yankees move. It's even worse.
Oh,
let me read it to you.
Somebody got better.
Someone's about to get better. There is growing buzz that the White Sox may trade Dylan Cease in the next 10 minutes
to somebody to the AL East.
The Dodgers or the Orioles.
Oh my God. If they get Cease, well, here's my thing, okay?
Oh my God.
We talked about this. Remember when I said before that, I said the Orioles, right? I said the Orioles were the favorites in the AL. I said the Orioles and the Rangers. And then I said the Braves, and I don't care about anybody else. I know that there are Dodgers fans that would say that they're probably right there, and maybe they are. But I think it's the Braves. The Braves are already in my World Series. I can't stress that enough. But the question is, are the Orioles going to keep this up? And I think the Orioles are. And I think them getting Cease is nasty. So that's Kramer, Gibson, Wells, Cease, and Flaherty. That's a really good rotation. But
it's a good rotation.
But the Rangers got better. And, I think that's going to be a hell of an ALCS, Rangers-Orioles. Holy shit.
Well, we're going to see what happens here. I mean, I'm looking at the notifications. Another one just came through. The New York Yankees are acquiring right-handed reliever Kenyon Middleton from the Chicago White Sox.
Oh, my God. I wish they did nothing. We're not serious. So they just gave up prospects for... So, I mean, you said you didn't want to see him go after a pitcher. They go out and get a what? That's the Yankees now. Gary, that's the Yankees now. Okay? The Yankees went out and got a White Sox pitcher. And while all the big dogs are going out for Cease, the Yankees are like, they're just like holding up their card like, we got Middleton. And they already...
Wait, hold on a minute. Brian Cashman's been napping the whole time the last 2 weeks, and he was like, well, wait, hold on a second. 3 minutes before the buzzer, I need Kenyon Middleton from a bad team.
So he's 29 years old. He has a 3.96 ERA. He's got a 1.34 WHIP. But I'm sure, like, here's my issue with the pitchers that they get is that I feel like they only get like sinker ball pitchers, like guys that are, like, have a really good sinker, because then they're like, oh, don't worry, Matt Blake will figure them out. Why can't they get a good pitcher where Matt Blake doesn't actually have to figure them out? Like, you notice that? Like,
the reason to answer your question, part of it's because they know Matt Blake is excellent, but here's the catch. If you go get someone that's excellent, you have to give up prospects, and the Yankees already don't know what to do with their good prospects. So imagine if they actually had to give away their good ones.
Oh my God. Can you imagine if they got rid of like Pereira?
No. Oh, well, first off, let's be very clear. If Pereira was out the door, I'd probably fly out to New York right now. I would do something. I'd go to prison. I'm being serious. Like, there's no way. I want to know what we gave up for this.
That's all I'm concerned with, because I'm not sitting there like, yes, Kenyon Middleton. By the way, I don't like his name because it's spelled weird, so I thought it was Kenyon. It's apparently Kanan. But look, I don't think, like, we don't know anything what he's going to be with the Yankees. They better not have given... That trade puts the mid in Middleton, says Alex. That's how I feel. Like I said, I would have rather had them do nothing. Dan just said, laugh my ass off. The Yankees are not a real franchise. That's how I feel. Like, that's who they did? Like, that's who they went out and got? Really? So
unbelievable.
That's the deadline. I mean, there might be something that comes through. Doesn't look like Cease got moved, by the way.
Okay. Well, I mean, what we're gonna have to see. They'll tweet anything official that like, okay, we're officially done. That's it. But
My
we are the New
God.
York Middies. Oh my God.
Talking Yanks literally tweeted out, yo, 6 p.m. Eastern, not Pacific. Haha, Yankees. That's how I feel. It's like they're operating like it's like Pacific time.
Oh my God. Can you believe?
Yes.
Can you actually believe?
I
mean,
can.
yeah.
Just stop right. Yes. Bro, Hal Steinbrenner. I love that Brian Hoke tweeted this out.
Oh.
Was it December 21st, 2022, and people are retweeting it now? Hal Steinbrenner quotes, "We're not done yet."
Oh my gosh.
So what's the plan? Oh,
Dylan Cease not traded.
that's it then. There's nothing else. The Yankees aren't getting anything else.
Oh my gosh.
Bro, they literally looked at all the issues they had. And they went to, I mean, they have like arguably one of the best bullpens in all of baseball. They have it all the time, right? So Gary, they took all the issues they had, their team averaging what, 220 batting average as a whole. And they're like, you know what we need? Kanan Middleton, who's barely below a 4 ERA as a reliever. That better not be like a legit prospect. I'm going to be so mad. And here's the thing, Gary, he could end up being the greatest reliever ever. But like, you're still, the issue was you're not scoring runs.
Hey, so what's the problem with the team? Well, obviously the problem is that we're not scoring and we have an issue finding consistency, whether it be veterans that we had expectations of or young players that we happen to put some confidence in, like Anthony Volpe. Okay, so what are you doing to address that? We're going to trade for a reliever from the Chicago White Sox. My phone is blowing up right now. Like, I'm not even kidding you, Jake. I just went on Twitter and my phone froze.
Good Lord.
That's how many people are DMing me. Bro, what the hell are we doing? All these people. I don't know. I don't even know what to tell these people. And then here's the funny part. Something that obvious, like the Yankees needed offensive help and they went out and got a reliever.
It's like
something that obvious. And then they'll look at me and be like, how dare you say not to watch?
I know.
How dare I?
Brian Hoke said, like, the only notable thing about Kanan Middleton is that he wears number 99 and will have to switch his number.
They should make Aaron Judge switch his number. That's what they should do. Just to make this offseason, like just to make this deadline even worse. Just make him switch the number to like 24 and make us all buy new jerseys. And then on the other sleeve, they'll have a chicken bucket. Right there. Chicken bucket right on the sleeve. This is unbelievable.
I just, wow. And like, honestly, how much of a goof do you feel if you've been backing the Yankees, if you've been defending them? Like, oh, just wait, guys, just wait. You guys are just being haters. How big of a goof do you feel right now? I mean, they didn't sell. They got one reliever. So like one of their pro scouts is like, yeah, you know, this Kanan Middleton might be an interesting ad. You might be able to get more out of him than the White Sox got. And they're like, all right, bet, top of the list. You know what I mean? That was like a move you make like 10 days before the trade deadline so you look smart. You know?
Dude.
You don't make that as a buzzer beater your only move of the... Oh, my Lord. Like I said, I wish they didn't do anything.
Brother. I don't even know what to say about this organization.
Bro, the middle reliever that they just got, by the way,
Yeah.
he's a rental. Oh my God. This is not a serious organization. This is just not. Unrestricted free agent 2024. He's a rental. I mean,
I don't even know what to say, Jake, because I can honestly tell you. Remember when I said the Yankees need a direction? They either need to buy or they need to sell. And we did say, and to your credit, you were saying, well, Alec Thomas, or not Alec Thomas. Who was it again?
Lane Thomas.
Lane Thomas.
They probably
Lane
didn't
Thomas.
even look at Lane Thomas.
Lane Thomas. I'm thinking of Arizona because they just made a trade for Pham. You found a way essentially for them to buy that also doesn't put them all the way in. The Yankees didn't do either. The Yankees have all these guys just expiring rentals, and they didn't get anything for them. So we're sitting here laughing our asses off about the Angels getting nothing for Ohtani.
Laughing through the pain.
Thing.
Laughing through the pain.
Yeah. Yeah, we're doing the exact same thing, by the way.
Oh, I'm gonna make a meme live before we get off because I definitely want to make this meme real quick. I'm trying to think of the template. What the hell do I want to do?
Oh my gosh. So bad.
Oh my God. Let's see. Where the hell? Okay, there we go. Yep. I'm going to make this meme because this is how I feel. I'm angry. Go to... I don't even know, like... I don't know. It feels, Gary, what this feels to me like they were just pulling our leg the entire time. Like, are we in a simulation? Is that what
I hope they lose tonight. If they lose tonight, by the way, if you think you saw rock bottom last game where they quit, wait till you see if they get punched in the mouth 2-0 in like the second inning today, what that's going to look like.
Oh,
if they go down 2-0 today, I'm here to tell you right now, Yankee Stadium is going to be a morgue.
It is so pathetic, dude.
Very impressive.
It is.
And by the way, we just got nothing to help us for the lineup, which by the way tells you the Yankees have all these guys just expiring, and essentially the only way that the Yankees get better is by calling up prospects next year or signing Ohtani. Those are our only two plays.
I don't even understand. All right, the meme's up. It's not anything special, but
oh my gosh.
I'm tagging you in it.
What's funny is the Yankees Twitter is actually not that negative right now, just from a standpoint of It's more so people just like getting jokes off, which I understand because I mean, like, what else are you supposed to do in tragedy?
I just
But
I just tagged you. Dan's like, the Yankees have Jake and Gary speechless.
because Dan, I mean, really, I want you to think about this. The New York Yankees knew exactly what they were bad at this offseason. Okay? The team knew coming into this offseason, we have a lineup that's not getting it done. We would like to upgrade the rotation so we can try to get some more innings out the rotation. They went out and got Carlos Rodon. Coverage of the team was that, well, they can't possibly be done because they have not upgraded the lineup, not just in left field, but anywhere. Okay? Brian Cashman went out and said, okay, we're going to do nothing from here on out. Ben Rortvedt is just going to sit on the IL. He'll eventually come back.
He doesn't
Isaiah
exist.
The dude never touched the field. Okay? Didn't really play. He wasn't that great in the minors. He's just fine. And we finally call him up. It's clear as day Ben Rortvedt is not a great player. Nothing to trade for. Nothing whatsoever. Absolutely not worth trading for a $50 million contract in Josh Donaldson. Okay? Brian Cashman should be fired immediately. I actually would consider firing him today. Like, I know we said we would have fired him like before, but like today is the best day that Howe could fire him, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, they had a horrendous lineup, and their only response was rental middle reliever. And actually, that seems like Hal, because if that's truly the case, that actually, going back to what we were talking about with Candelario, this confirms it. They were not going to spend anything more than $2 million. Think about it. Middle relief rental? That is absolutely obscene. And for the people saying, well, like, what about trade waivers? They're not doing shit. They're not doing shit. This is it.
Wow. I mean, I will say, I wasn't going to be shocked. I did say earlier, I'm not shocked if the Yankees do nothing because of just what they've done with their lives. But now that it's gotten here, I will say it's hard to believe. It's very hard to believe, which kind of goes to show you that Brian Cashman has no fear whatsoever of losing his job, which I think any person, like any human being that has no fear of losing their job, I mean, you can kind of go to expect you're not going to get the proper output that you need to be getting. Everyone should have an understanding they can lose their job if they don't do a good job. That's human nature.
Everything has been confirmed, essentially, just in the last, 2 hours that we've been live. Everything was confirmed. Buster Olney's report that, like, basically Hal just is well-liked and doesn't push people and all that, which obviously we don't care about because it's not like we're dealing with him, Hal's well-liked. Nothing's changing if they miss the playoffs. Candelario wasn't an option because Hal didn't want to spend money. Everything, Gary, in the last 2 hours has been in black and white confirmed that the Yankees are an unserious franchise. I mean, that's all you can do is sum it up like that. They want to be, owner's more concerned about being buddy-buddy with his employees than he is actually doing anything with the team. And this team has gotten to the point after last year, like Cashman was so scared after last year and how some of that backfired, those trades at the deadline, that they literally stood pat until the last 5 minutes. And they're like, oh, well, we'll give them something. Let's give them a middle relief pitcher for a bullpen that's one of the best already in baseball, and that is far from their biggest issue. If you were going to get a pitcher from the Chicago White Sox, I would have rather had you just go out for Cease. We were talking about that. Is that a need? No, I think hitting's more of a need, but it would be fun. Cease is honestly way more of a need than a reliever. Like, a reliever, a middle reliever. And the thing that you and I didn't even know at the time that I told you, and then I almost lost you. I think you were contemplating life at that point. He's a rental. So it's not an Efros situation, which, by the way, that trade is going to end up looking terrible.
That Efros trade is just so... I just feel like
It's a simulation, Gary. Just let it happen.
This New York Yankees team, like this year's, like not 2024. This New York Yankees team is such an abomination in terms of contact, effort, vision, baseball IQ, and just an overall understanding of what it is we're trying to do when we get to the baseball field. I can honestly tell you, coming into the first inning, I don't have any faith whatsoever that the Yankees are going to score a run in any inning that they approach against any pitcher. Essentially, the only time I feel confident, and I mean this, is when a lefty is throwing low 90s. If it's not that, I feel like it's too much for the lineup. Okay? I'm being serious. Because I'll go see like a Justin Verlander get to the mound, or a Tyler Glasnow get to the mound. Guy's throwing 97, 90, 98 miles an hour, almost 100 miles an hour. It's like the New York Yankees just are flat out not talented enough. It's like watching the Los Angeles Lakers from like that post Steve Nash Los Angeles Lakers team.
Or the Steve Nash Los Angeles Lakers team.
Or the Steve Nash Los Angeles. Like, the fact that Aaron Judge is even called a captain on this team is just fucking pathetic. Pathetic. Like, who cares if he's the captain?
MLB Network, the Yankees bolster their bullpen. I can't. That title right there, like, and just like the picture they picked out, like he's all like, yeah, like he's like this star guy that they just got.
Wait, you want to hear something even funnier?
What?
So, I just read a tweet from Brennan Cuddy, or whatever the hell his name is, doesn't matter. It says, probably not the best time to hear this, but the Yankees had one of their most veteran scouts watching the Padres this week, hoping San Diego might consider a sale. Guess what, guys? I was in San Diego watching a Padres game. Who gives a damn? Did they really need to scout Juan Soto? Scout Juan Soto? Ladies and gentlemen.
Maybe it was Josh Hader. Did you really need to scout Josh Hader? Guys that are already like premium guys in the league, you shouldn't have to scout.
Brother. Yeah, we had to send one of our most, we actually, believe it or not, guys, we were serious this time. We sent one of our most veteran scouts on a $250 flight to San Diego on Delta, just to let you guys know how serious we were about trading for Juan Soto.
The Padres just got Garrett Cooper. So the Padres ended up being buyers, albeit they didn't get anything super luxurious or anything like that. And then there was another move that it looks like Dr. Dingus has put in our comments section, and we're going to wrap it up here. But Miami Marlins are acquiring Josh Bell from Cleveland for Gene Segura and infield prospect Khalil Watson.
Yeah, and Luis Urias was just traded to Boston.
And the Yankees traded Juan Corella in high A for a rental middle reliever. And Juan Corella currently has a 3.67 ERA. What is it? A 1.16 whip. He's got 109 strikeouts. Where is Corella? I mean, I hate this trade because it doesn't help them at all. Like, I'm just going to be honest with you.
Wait a minute, but we have Loiza, like, we have people coming back in the bullpen. Like, our bullpen was fine.
That's what I'm saying.
We also have it getting more healthy. Why are we getting a bullpen piece?
Corella was the 29th prospect in the farm. But I'd rather have Corella than... Because here's the thing. I don't know what Corella is going to be. I know that this pitcher that they just got is only going to be around for a year.
Correct.
I'd rather just have the prospect. Why it's not just the 29th rated prospect. Those are normally the guys that come up and do well in the farms out of the farm system.
But he's also still the number 29th prospect, if not better, next year.
Yeah.
So like that's the thing.
He's 21, 2025 with his ETA.
Okay. So same as Spencer Jones and all that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would just rather have him over. Who cares about Middleton?
Well, I mean, this is the way I look at it. I don't care really what the prospect was or what he's rated. What I care about is that are we acquiring something today in the trade, something that we want and something that we needed?
Oh, boy.
And if the answer is no, I guess any prospect that you give up, there's no point.
Oh, boy.
Oh, what?
Oh, boy. 395 days missed. Kanan Middleton in his career. It's injury after injury. Elbow, Tommy John, biceps, elbow, ankle, toe.
Oh, toe. We're the all-toe team.
So, like, hear me out. 2018, he injures his elbow, misses 10 games. Then he comes back and misses 141, has to get Tommy John surgery, misses 153 the next year in 2019. Doesn't play in 2020, I don't believe. 2021, he gets a bicep injury, 17 games missed. He hurts his elbow, 18 games missed in 2022. 2022, he missed 38 games with an ankle, and he missed 18 games with a toe injury. Good Lord. He's missed 395 games because of injury. It's worse.
I mean, actually, I don't care who he is. It doesn't actually even matter. It could have been a like you could have told me that the Yankees traded for Josh Hader, and I'd have been like, for what? The lineup sucks. It could be anybody.
Well, that's what we were talking about. I mean, it's just like doesn't help him.
No, not even in the slightest. The Yankees don't need any reliever from any team at all. Not one. Not a closer, not a long reliever, nothing. They don't need any of it. The only thing you could argue with that Dylan Cease pickup was that, because I thought Dylan Cease was probably too expensive for their liking, so I never thought it was possible. But an arm, like a starting pitcher, because you can phase out Sevy. That to me seemed like a move which you brought up. So to me that seems like a move that they could do. But in terms of arms, I would rather get no pitching whatsoever, not starting, I would rather keep Sevy out there.
Well, we had talked about this. Hitter. The idea of them trading Peraza for Bednar, I saw that trade going around. That doesn't make sense. They don't need Bednar. It's like people want this like mega bullpen. If Aaron Boone knew how to manage a bullpen, they wouldn't need one.
Right.
He doesn't need to have 6 guys pitching every single game. You know what I mean? He doesn't. He doesn't need to have 6 guys pitching. He doesn't have to have Michael King coming out in the 6th inning, Gary.
Wait, the Padres are acquiring closer Scott Barlow from the Royals?
That doesn't make sense. I don't even understand what the Padres were trying to do. Why were they even like entertaining trades for Soto and what's his face?
I don't know. So essentially it seems like, because I can tell you right now that Nick Martinez from San Diego is one of the worst pitchers I've ever seen in my life. I watched him pitch live. The dude gets shelled. Dude, I cannot. It's Shell City over there.
The Dodgers acquired Ryan Yarbrough from the Royals.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a pivot.
But here's the thing, though. You and I just kind of admitted to it earlier. We'd be okay with doing nothing if they were calling up the prospects. The fact that they're still trotting out Jake Bauers, the fact they're still trotting out Billy McKinney tells me that they just literally don't even know what to do at this point.
Yeah, because they know what they're doing. We don't know what they're doing, but they know what's in their own head. So, like, if you're not going to be going after any type of bats, okay, well, today's lineup that had no Harrison Bader, by the way, which means there's no center fielder. We are talking about, like, prospects should be called up. Like, we should know, okay, we know we're not doing anything in terms of offense, so that the offense has got to come from the system. It can't come from nowhere.
Dan says I have to stop this Jake on Jake crime. I know I should really elevate all Jakes. I shouldn't tear any of them down. Hey, I did preface it by saying earlier Jake Bauers has been on a tear. Like, he's had home runs in back-to-back games, but
he's like, so any slander after that is fine.
Yeah, I already prefaced it. Like, we're all good. Luis Urias, the infielder, is going to the Red Sox.
Yeah.
All right, this trade deadline was buns. Yeah, I don't even know, man. That was sad. The Yankees went out sad. That's what happened. They went out very sad. And look at this lineup before we leave. Look at this lineup. Have you seen the lineup tonight?
Let me look at it now.
It's horrendous. I mean, all you need to know is they have either Jake Bauers. I don't even know. I think that's Jake Bauers. They have Jake Bauers on the cover of it. Jake Bauers leading off. Aaron Judge second. Gleyber Torres third. Anthony Rizzo fourth. LeMahieu fifth.
How is Anthony Rizzo hitting fourth in a big league lineup right now?
Like we just talked about, like statistically, not even like overreaction. Statistically, he's the worst hitter in baseball right now.
Sucks.
McKinney is playing center field. Billy McKinney is playing center field. Like, who's watching this game and thinking, yeah, the Yankees are going to win?
Wait a minute. Hold on 1 second. I actually have a quick thing. So you mean to tell me Anthony Volpe, the Yankees' number one prospect that they had, number one, not two, not six, number one, okay, is hitting behind Billy McKinney? Let me tell you something. And I'm not saying that he shouldn't be there, but doesn't that go to show you how bad the development's been? The fact that we can even do that.
I just think it shows you that Boone doesn't know how to make a lineup.
Do you think that
Billy McKinney should be hitting lower than Higashioka?
We have Isaiah Kiner-Falefa hitting sixth.
He should be leading off. He's been getting on base at a good clip.
But like these are run producing spots in the lineup. Like your 3 through 6 guys need to be doing some type of damage. Our 4 through 6 guys, our 4 through 7 guys are Rizzo, LeMahieu, Kiner-Falefa, and McKinney.
Judge should be hitting third. I don't understand, especially right now. Judge should be hitting third. You should be protecting him by having Torres hitting cleanup. You should have Kiner-Falefa probably hitting first, and I would say Volpe hitting second. So your 4 hitters are your best hitters right now. Because whether we want to admit or not, Volpe, yes, okay, he's struggling in terms of number one prospect. He's actually been hitting decently well. He's batting like 280 since that whole thing. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. You know how I feel about that is that if you actually let people play, like if you let people play for 600 games or 600 at bats, at some point, like there's going to be like a little window where you can be like, this guy hit 270. I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, but it's been like a month though. So like
it's good. Yeah.
Those are the top 4 hitters in the lineup. Not even an argument.
Yes.
No one else could unseat
100%.
those guys. But I mean, after that, you're just looking at a pile of garbage. And you're telling me those guys, it's embarrassing that you think those guys, and think about how other teams look at your farm system. They're like, wow, are we sure it's worth trading our top guy for Jason Dominguez? I mean, they're not even playing him over Billy McKinney.
Billy McKinney.
Pereira?
They have IKF playing left field. And wait, hold on. So you're going to tell me that Pereira is this big star, right? But you won't play him over IKF and left? Really?
I can't. Anyway,
okay.
I do have to get going because I have to record my NFL show. Hopefully I can cleanse my thoughts of the Yankees during that time because good Lord. But are you going to be streaming later on Kick?
Yes, later tonight, yes, I will be.
Okay, so you'll get Gary and I on Kick if you go and follow us. Gary Sheffield Jr. So kick.com/Gary Sheffield Jr. Kick.com/JK Bogan. If you follow both of us, you'll be entered to win a NFL jersey if you're choosing. So definitely be sure to do that. Yeah, guys, we apologize. We will definitely be more in tune with the comments when we're doing the kick streams. I think when you and I get going, it's just like, we have so much to talk about and then forget about the comments and all that. But no, we'll interact more with the comments during our kick stream later tonight. And then, I mean, I don't know if you'll be around for it, but I'm doing a watch party for the NFL Hall of Fame game on Thursday. So,
okay.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, you know how the wedding stuff goes, so I can never make promises.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
But I'll be there tonight for sure.
Funny that you said that. Alex said pinky promise, Gary, for tonight.
Yes, Alex, I pinky promise.
All right, there we go.
As long as Alex pinky promises to be there, I'll be there.
He'll be there. He's one of the regulars.
Oh,
so,
I know.
So we appreciate you guys. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't already on YouTube. If you're on Kick, be sure to check us out later today. So later tonight, we'll both be on. But until next time, guys, you guys take care. We'll see you guys soon.